Let's have a laugh.
In a world of remakes and remasters,
Are we playing for keeps?
what was once sacred and cool has now soured and become lame.
Radical,
Gone are the days of pods and cowabunga. Now is the reign of slurp juice and dabs. Kids these days don't even know how bad they've got it. Now it's up to the best generation to rise to the occasion and make a show that dares to go where a lot of other nerdy shows have already gone quite a bit. That's right. They're going to talk about it a lot.
Hello and welcome to the show, everybody. This is Best Gen, where nerds celebrate nerdy things that are awesome and don't suck, like Brandon Sanderson. It's the Sanderson stream, everybody! Yay! Oh man, I messed up. Hold on. It's a Sanderson stream, everybody.
You're doing great.
There we go. There we go. We can skip the normal intro today because we're not going to complain about anything this week. We're only going to talk about fun stuff, and I definitely am not going to bring up the new Doctor Who episode.
We gotta complain about it like just a second.
No, I'm not talking about Doctor Who.
Okay.
I'm saving it for next week.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
But I really want.
I really want to say something
No.
about it. Okay, say it in Sanderson terms.
Say it in Sanderson's terms.
Or in Sanderson books.
Or-
Sanderson doesn't do time travel.
Yeah.
No, I mean like disaster or like a catastrophe event in a disaster or in a Sanderson book.
Yeah. What's the cataclysm?
When the Everstorm meets
the
the Everstorm meets the oh my goodness, I'm blanking on the storm wall.
There you fucking go. There you go. When the Everstone hits the thingy.
Yeah, but there's a
Right.
really cool fight when that happens. So
It is. Yeah, it's cool.
The fight
I
of
would
the
say-
culture war. I'm just joshing with you.
I would say Doctor Who, the current state of Doctor Who is the equivalent of everyone from Nalthis still worshipping Adenalcium.
Okay.
That is pretty specific. I like it. I love it.
Anyway, is it Nalthis? Is it? No, not Nalthis. Everyone from
Scadria.
Threnody. Everyone from Threnody
Oh.
still
Oh,
right.
still
yes.
worshipping Adenalcium.
I was like,
of course.
Sorry, I messed up. Oh no! Okay, you.
Are you okay, man?
all right, well, I guess this is David's show. And,
Yep. Welcome
Sorry.
to my show. Thanks for joining us.
welcome to the bottom row.
It was like the opening line too. I already messed up. Okay, who knows all of the planet names by heart? Okay.
Okay.
I know you probably do, but who else other than Jordan knows all of the planetary systems by heart?
Not I.
Yeah, we got a special stream. We're just going to talk
Very
about
special.
Brandon Sanderson. We've got our wonderful guest Jordan from the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies.
Nailed it. Good
I
work.
want to say cosmetology every time.
Yeah, well, Amy's a very good cosplayer, but no, none of us can do your hair.
Probably one of the nerdiest channels on YouTube. They are very close to 1,000 subscribers. just under 900 right now. So if you're not subscribed and you listen to me talk, I guarantee you like listening to them talk.
I'm gonna get you to 900, I guess. At least I'm
Oh,
gonna tell
thank
my
you.
crew.
Oh, they're
Mhm.
too
Thank
shy
you very
of
much.
900. So you might need to like use your alt YouTube account to subscribe twice.
I have
Um,
like 2 alter accounts. Don't worry.
I have 5. Okay. Um,
Those were my first 3 subscribers. My first 2 subscribers.
Exactly. Yep.
I have
It's
some for
the
like,
thumb on the
I
scale.
might do this eventually. So I've already created like third and like a bunch of alternate channels that I probably will never get to.
That's how it goes.
We've got Mark Clark in the chat, our resident channel member. It's great to see you. Does anyone else sing the the intro to the show as they're walking? I imagine most people don't listen to our show while they're walking. You're one of the few people who like works and listens to us. It's because most people have Sunday off.
I cannot do read them in my
I-
mind. Yeah.
I'm proud of the intro. I really like it. I think it's
I always wanted to ask you, but I don't know if it's like the guy the little kid that is singing like that ask what does he say at the beginning? My dad
dad
can
your
beat
dad.
a
Let's have a LAN party. Are we
what
playing?
what
are we
does that
playing
mean?
A LAN part? LAN. It's how you used to do
Local area
multiplayer.
network.
Yeah,
Before online games were a thing, you had to like go over to someone's house and hook up 6 computers, and everyone would join a Counter-Strike game together.
I mean, we knew about that, but we never did that in my town because we were like my town is like oof, there's still burros going around the streets. You know what I mean? We had rich kids had the Xbox, but we did that thing with the Xbox. It was basically land, right? With the Xbox. When you
Although
connect the Xbox with the
Mexico has sea bears, which are really cool.
what?
This a sea bear. The store is just full of computers.
Cyber. Yeah, Cyber. Yeah.
So that
You
used to
said
be a
Cyber, and I was like, Cybers? We have
sea
Cybers?
bear. I'm sorry, I said it like a gringo. Sea bear.
Yeah,
Sometimes it takes a
Cyber.
second to like get into the Spanish.
He's only
mindset.
technically
Cyber.
Mexican.
It's basically cyber. Yeah, it will pronounce cyber.
It's basically just a store full of computers where you can go. If you don't have one, you can go email and you can do gaming, which we actually used to have in the United States. There were a couple gaming
back
lounges
in the 90s, probably.
Yeah.
But we
was a
had
long
it.
time ago.
We had it to this day. To this day, I can go to the corner and I go to the cyber, and it's like everyone is there still. Obviously, I don't because I have these.
But I think sea bears are awesome. So
I don't.
I think they're cool.
No, the computers are the worst. Like are Windows 2000, whatever.
Mark Clark, I 100% agree. I literally had the same comment, so I'm glad that we think alike. The new sonic screwdriver looks like a butt plug.
In game.
But we're not talking about it this week. Okay?
Is there like a Sanderson?
Okay, it looks like it looks like
Careful.
Someone's imagination is running way too wild with their spren.
Something traveling sea.
I love how we're
Speaking of,
making all these analogies that Mexa does not understand.
I know.
At Dragonsteel, there was a dude with a beard, a cosplaying a Sill, handing out leaves, and he was having a great time.
Oh, he was good. He was a cool guy. I met so many fun people. We'll talk about vibes in a second. Salty Traveling Sea. I always want to say company. I feel like your name should be the Traveling Company, and I know it's not company. You want my woke album vinyl for Christmas. Well, see, that would require me to write the rest of the songs and not just like the 30-second snippets. Which I really don't want to do. But I said in a comment, if that video gets 500,000 views, then I'll do a full album.
At that point, you're sort of obligated to.
Yeah. For Cinco de Mayo, could you do the intro in Spanish? Ooh!
That's a great idea.
I should, for sure. I need to write that down somewhere where I won't forget it.
Yeah, it's like mi papá
David,
puede
David, send me
romperle la
a
mano a
text.
tu
Send me a
papá.
text so I'll see it at the end of the show and I can write it down somewhere.
Sounds good.
Mi
That's a
papá puede
fantastic idea.
romper de tu madre a tu papá. That's Mexican.
Well, anyway, I don't even think I finished.
Cinco de Mayo actually lands on Sunday next year.
Oh, it does? Oh,
Yeah.
heck yes.
Perfect.
We're doing a party. I don't even think I finished Jordan's
Cinco de
introduction.
Mayo.
We're joined by the wonderful Jordan from the Sandersonian Institute of Cosmere Studies. He also has his own his gaming channel, Splice Stream, which if you thought the other thing was nerdy, I've watched a couple of your Splice Stream videos, man. You explained it on you.
You go into such technical detail.
Okay.
It's impressive, bro.
Yeah.
I follow something because I'm a gamer, so I know about a little bit of the gaming lingo, but I'm freaking lost in fighting games. So it's
You
informative.
explained it
bro.
last time. You explained the concept, and I was like, "What are you talking about?"
Amiibo
and then I
fights,
watched
just-
your
it's just
video,
digital
and
cockfighting.
I still don't get it, but wow, it's weird and
It's
unique.
very weird. It's very niche. We're actually starting out now. We now doing Friday nights. We're doing regular Smash Brothers, not involving Amiibo, doubles items, just like you'd play.
I
with,
like it. I like it. I'm gonna check
your
this out.
friends.
Friday night.
Yeah,
it
Friday
is-
night on
Nice.
It
Twitch.
is basically digital cockfighting in game.
It really is.
In game.
Yeah, no. When the robot apocalypse comes, I'm first on the hit list. They are not gonna like me.
It feels like, honestly, it feels like the closest thing to like real life Pokemon.
And so
Right?
actually,
if it wasn't if it wasn't turn based, right? It's like
So,
you're actually
we've
training
now-
these things.
It's funny you say that. We've launched a new series called
no.
Amiibomon, where we've
Oh.
set up gyms with typings. It's the nerdiest thing I've done.
Sounds so
And
fun, bro.
I want everyone to remember I said that, and I'm a part of a Sanderson podcast.
Yeah,
So, and this is the nerdiest thing I do.
it really is.
pretty
It
nerdy.
really is. It's very entertaining stuff, though. I'd like going into the mathematics behind how you train these stuff is like, okay, this is a madman, but watching the videos is very entertaining. Yeah. So
Is that like basic AI? Well, sorry.
what?
Is that like
It's-
AI?
it's-
No,
it's
no.
not
So
quite AI, but basically you can influence the behavior, but it gets very technical. It's boring.
have you
It's
played
fine.
Super Smash Brothers?
I love it.
So there are items in Super Smash Brothers where you basically get like a pet that fights alongside you, the amiibos. Oh no! I'm explaining it wrong.
They're collectible.
No.
They're collectible figures.
Yeah,
The collector figures. Yeah.
you can scan them in and have them fight, and so, oh man, it's crazy. Based on how you train them, like because you can customize them, and they have a save file. And so if you work with them outside of the game, right, or inside the game, but like in practice rounds, it essentially like trains the amiibos to use different move sets.
Mhm.
So the different things that you have them fight will have them default to different attacks, and apparently there's enough like math and consistency behind it that you can get specific results, which is it's nuts.
Yeah, it's highly technical. There's people who've done a lot more work on it than I have who go into the math of it, and I have to go to them. It's a lot of fun, but
I forgot to link the Splice stream. I will do that right after the show.
Do the Twitch. So.
Oh, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
It's easy to find if you Google.
Twitch is for communists. No, sorry. No, I'm joking.
Well, I'm also on Kick, so.
No, I'm joking. I want to get into Kick. I just say that because Twitch is such a big company. It is the market,
Yeah, I'd
the
like more
biggest.
competition myself.
Exactly.
We will also eventually be joined by some of the peeps from Simply Nerdy, but they're going to be a little bit late. So let's get into it. Let's talk about SanderCon, DragonCon Steel,
Dragon Steel 2023.
Yeah, maybe that's when
2023.
I head out because I have no idea what you guys gonna talk about. But I
Yeah.
would love to hear you. So maybe I get into the chat
you-
just for a second.
You keep asking where to start if you're going to start reading Brandon Sanderson in his second language, in English, which is not
Yeah, consider that like
it's hard to do. I always recommend Warbreaker. I think it's his best work, and we're still not getting a freaking sequel.
So why do you want me
Hey,
to
it's-
start with Warbreaker?
He dropped
Have
dropped it. It's on the to-do list.
why do you want me to start in
eventually-
the one that doesn't have a sequel? Or
Well,
what?
they're all part. They're all part of
Oh,
the
right.
MCU, right? He basically did the MCU before the MCU. All of his books are in the same universe, and some of the characters keep
Most of
popping up in other books.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And they're eventually all going to meet each other and have a huge like sci-fi war, right?
This is gonna be the most basic biat question that I can make in my
Yeah.
life, but it's like the multiverse. Is it like the multiverse?
No,
not
there's
a
no
multiverse.
multiverse.
More.
It's just a
it's
universe,
more-
a shared
space.
universe.
I think the best example is if you actually read like regular comic books. You know, the X-Men are off doing their own thing over there. The Avengers are doing their thing over there. But they're all part of the same universe, and occasionally things cross over. And the
True.
longer time goes on, the more it crosses.
Occasionally, Spider-Man has a special with Wolverine or Deadpool.
Yeah, but they did started the thing with the universe. But was that like a
There's no
new
multiple
age?
universes, no.
It also starts off really slow. So the early books, there's
Mm-hmm.
really only hints that something else is going on, and
Right.
but in his newer books, it's coming to the forefront, and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
this is getting nuts.
But nice.
Well,
Now I know
tying
it's
it
gonna
to the
be.
year of Sanderson. One of the things he talked about when he was doing the year of Sanderson was
Yeah.
how he always wanted to do this giant, crossover thing, but the publishers were always like, "No, don't do that. People hate that."
But
And so
it's such
he-
a weird thing to say because it's never been done. I mean,
Yeah,
kind of.
well, and
That
so
sounds
he just put little tiny hints, and as fans started
Right.
catching on them,
Noticing them,
it
yeah.
became the fans' favorite thing. And last year at Dragonsteel, he gave this whole speech about how
Taking
he's
off the
tired
glove.
of writing. Yeah, he's tired of writing to the assignment. The gloves are coming off, and things going forward are going to be a lot more crossed over because he's learned the fans love the crossovers. And you can see that in this entire year of Sanderson. Now,
Even before that, even with the Lost Metal,
Yeah.
it was nuts. So
yeah, and the Lost Metal was because that was the book that was coming out that that convention, and so it came out, and then I mean we just got a ton of it throughout this entire
agree.
year. So
Agree, Prophet.
yeah, I think I'm on the Sunlit Man train too. I think that's the best one. But we'll get into that deeper. Yeah. So yeah, it starts off very subtle, but it's opening up now. Everything's crossed over. I would recommend Warbreaker. Is there an easier Cosmere book to read? Because some of the secret projects are shorter now, but the problem is they're more connected, and so
Well,
I don't.
I've heard a bunch of people now starting people
Yumi.
off with Yumi or Tress,
Yeah.
depending upon
Tress is
their
too much.
taste.
Tress is too
Well,
much
so-
though.
I actually met someone who started with Tress, and
Yeah.
for them, it just lended itself to mystery, and they were fine with it.
Okay. There is a
and it-
lot of crossover. In
Yeah,
Tress.
I was
Yeah.
surprised by it. Look, there's really no wrong thing. One of my favorite things this year was someone posted on the Cosmere subreddit how their friends were trying to get them into Brandon Sanderson, and they told them to start here, start there, and to piss their friends off, they started with Era 2 of Mistborn.
Which you can do. You actually can
Yeah.
do. He does sometimes
Well,
recommend.
and so
Alloy
the funniest
Blah.
thing though, he finished all of Era 2, and he's like, all right, let's go to Era 1, and he's been posting his reviews of how, because he viewed all these characters from Era 1 as these legends, and he now
Yeah.
gets to see how they actually were,
Yeah.
and
That's
he's
cool.
still quite enjoying himself, and it's just something that was kind of amazing to me that even what is objectively the wrong way to go about it was not actually preventing him from enjoying it.
That's
that would be fun.
That's the other thing, Mexa, is the books start off, they're all kind of fantasy time era, right? Medieval-ish Some are a little bit more advanced. And as he's writing, all of these worlds are going to progress technologically. So he's already taken one of the worlds and turned it into like steampunk in the future. So they have guns now, but they use the same magic system as the medieval times. And the books from the first series, the characters in that series are now like legends in the second series. And it's all of them are going to progress into eventually like full on sci-fi, and it's going to be crazy. Mark Clark, there is nothing wrong with reading out of order. And, yeah, with Sanderson, it kind of applies. As long as you like stick to a series and finish it.
Yeah. It really depends upon what your fantasy tastes are. Like for me, I started with Mistborn because my roommate who got me into it, and now my co-host, he knew I'm into physics and stuff like that, and he's like, okay, Mistborn is going to be more his thing because I don't typically read other fantasy.
Yeah.
Someone who tends to read fantasy, I think Warbreaker is a good start. You might prefer if someone's more like romance, maybe Tress is fine. I think Yumi and the Night Painter is a great starting point. The point is, I would just pick a book where it's easy for you don't have to keep reading, which is for me, Mistborn era, the first book, era 1 of Mistborn
is a good standalone as well.
Well, it's sort of like a New Hope in that way, where it does have a very satisfying conclusion.
I think it's like watching the first Matrix movie and stopping.
Except there was no other Matrix movie, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Right.
Same thing with like the first Pirates of the Caribbean.
Except the difference being though, if you go and read books 2 and 3, they're actually good. You know.
Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good point.
But yeah, for Mexa, whose English is fantastic, by the way. I'm impressed by your English every day. Reading because you want to read in English. I'd say Warbreaker is not that difficult of a read, but if you want an even shorter one, maybe Yumi and the Nightmare Painter is a quicker read, and Tress. Yeah, I think Tress is a fun read. There at the end of the book, there are a bunch of like Easter eggs for different worlds, so it gets really connected. Yeah. But like you said,
if you think
you
you're
don't
going to
know
keep reading
any of it, it might make it might not be a turnoff. So
I just say if you're going to keep reading, maybe save those for later because there is more crossovers. And personally, I find the crossovers very fun.
There's not a lot of crossover in Yumi. Just the main character, not the main character,
right?
Just the narrator, right?
Yeah, maybe what I just
the narrator that's in the background the whole time.
It's more like, what book can I get for free?
Yeah.
But the reason why I don't like reading translations is because people that people that speak Spanish that learn English are not like me. Most people are not like me that actually take the time and the care and have the love for the language. I love English because it's the most complex language that exists, because it has, well, in my opinion, it is, because it has the most vocabulary. That is a fact. It has like 80,000 words or something like that, which is double the words that exist in Spanish. So I think I have there's more room to express more things that you could in Spanish. Obviously, there are words that don't exist in English, but you know.
Yeah. What you 100% should do though is do the audiobook and read along. That will help immensely.
That sounds spicy. You know what that sounds like? You know what that sounds like? It sounds exactly like when you go in your car and you're driving and you roll down the window and you also put the air conditioning and you are in the beach, literally. You have the breeze all over you.
No, but that will improve your cognition, and it will improve your English too. But if you're reading along and listening, you're gonna get a whole lot.
Yeah,
more
but which can I get like for free or like?
You've been.
Is he a greedy? Is he a greedy mother lover?
I'm sure there are.
He's got to now. He's more than doubled his team this year. He's got to pay for that somehow.
Yeah, and I don't think he's greedy. Obviously, greedy Disney. Greedy Disney.
No, he's a very giving person.
Yeah, no, he probably is fair.
Well, so one of the coolest things about the year of Sanderson was first of all, he kind of announced that he's going to war with Amazon somewhat with the
Yeah.
secret projects
Yeah.
because he wasn't going through Audible, and he had some choice words about it. But I think the coolest thing about it was, it was the biggest Kickstarter of all time.
Yeah.
Which it's weird that books are the biggest Kickstarter of all time.
Yep.
He then did this whole stream where it was like, we are so thankful for the support we got that we're gonna back every single literature Kickstarter that is on the platform. And so they did a
Nice.
stream where they went through looking for every single one and backed it, and really highlighted
And,
some really
and
cool
in many of those cases, pushed them over their goals. Like,
Yeah, I just
if
actually
there were some small ones, they're like, let's make sure that this gets funded, and bought like the biggest tiers.
Yeah, I actually just looked in his page, and he has what he calls online library, and I click on free fiction, and he has full books here. He has 2 full books
Yeah,
here.
they're
He
short.
has Warbreaker, and he has The Way of the King's Prime. So I don't know. What do you
Way of
recommend?
King's Prime, do not
Don't-
read
don't.
because that's actually not canon. It
Yeah.
was his first version of one of his stories. Warbreaker, on the other hand, he actually wrote publicly, like so people could see the writing process. So that's why it's free, and I think a great place to start.
And he
I
has
didn't
like,
realize that was free online. That's awesome.
yeah, that's awesome. I mean, it's a weird like format, really, really weird. Like really, like it's literally like Wikipedia article type format, worse
Oh,
than
yeah.
the Wikipedia, worse than a Wikipedia article.
I can help you find a better copy. So
Yeah, but I read, it says Warbreaker introduction, rights explanation. Do I read that or no? I just read the introduction, right? Or no?
yeah,
And the prologue, and then the full book. All right.
the prologue,
right.
the prologue of Warbreaker is just so good.
It is.
It's funny. Basher thought, how many things begin with
Ooh.
my getting thrown into prison?
It's good.
I have
It's good
no
line.
idea what that means.
That's fine.
Oh,
You'll learn.
I am supposed to not know what that means?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah.
No,
okay, okay.
Warbreaker is in reality, it's kind of prerequisite in some ways for Stormlight Archive, but it stands alone on by itself.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it will stand alone by itself for quite some time.
Yeah, unfortunately. He keeps saying he's going to write a sequel, but he'll get around to it in 5 years, maybe.
I just have
Mark,
a question about the audiobook. So for Mexa to
Mark Clark, thank you so much. $10 for Mexa to afford a book. I'll keep the money, but I'll buy it for him. It's just harder.
Nice.
It's harder to transfer money to Mexico. So I'll
Exactly.
make sure he gets a copy.
The audiobook preferably. I
Yeah,
think
yeah.
that's easier, right? Because you
And
just
then you
give
can just
me
read along.
You just can give me like you can buy the subscription for audiobook, or I don't know where he is in audiobooks.
He's on Audible, yeah.
Yeah.
Get your books read to you like a proper Vorin man. It's a joke you don't get yet, but you eventually will.
I only have 4 books in my bedroom right now, and they are the Song of Ice and Fire. So would you recommend me to start on that?
No, don't read a Song of Ice and Fire.
No?
as your first.
Well, no, because
English.
you want a series that'll
book?
actually get finished.
Yeah,
Oh yeah.
Yep.
but also like the density of that. I would not recommend anyone start. That'd be like
Maybe Dance of the Dragon.
Hmm.
No.
it's pretty thick. I don't know. Jacob Ironside. Hey, oops.
I just got him. I got too into Game of Thrones because my ex got me into it, and now
Yeah.
that
Well-
I really want to know it because the next year is gonna be that House of the Dragon year, brother.
House of the Dragon's coming back.
Yeah.
But would you recommend me to start on Warbreaker then? To
Yes.
not start on Song of Ice and Fire then?
Yeah, start with Warbreaker, and I'll send you the audiobook, and then you can read along.
Hey, yeah. Do they read like I read that part? Like it's funny. Basher thought do they read it in that cool way?
There's two versions. There is a version that's like it's an audio drama, which it's like acted out. I have that version.
Yeah.
I've never
need
done
that.
those.
It's graphic audio. I prefer just reading without any acting.
I am a drama
It's
Cold.
really fun to listen to. That was my first
It
way
is.
that I read Warbreaker.
Yeah. It's
but
really well done.
it's very
It's also
well done.
more
There's-
expensive though because
Yeah.
there's a lot more production value.
Yes,
Yeah.
unless you
But I
get it on
wanna
a Humble
feel
Bundle discount that all of the books were like $15. So
I want
I-
to
I
feel
just-
like
5 years ago though.
I prefer just regular narration just because it's faster. But the graphic audio presentation, it's done very, very well. And there's like music and stuff and sound effects.
There's music,
Like,
there's sound effects, everything.
It's very
my
immersive.
my only criticism is sometimes some of the background music gets a little bit and sound effects get a little bit loud, and you can't pay attention to what.
Yeah, maybe I rather the
Just in a couple instances.
yeah, I rather the original then because I prefer my own music. I don't distrust the taste of the people behind the production of the Sanderson book, but I'd rather just listen to classical.
All right. Yeah,
I
I'll
agree.
definitely start reading, man. I'm excited for you to try that.
Yeah, imagine if I never read
If
I
I
haven't read a book in freaking
Okay.
years.
If
Years.
I can read Don Quixote in Spanish, you can read Warbreaker.
I can't read Don Quixote in Spanish.
It was tough. It was really tough. Okay, I'm not
Nobody
saying it was
in
easy, but I did it.
Mexico. Even the pretentious people in Mexico, I read Don Quixote. They read 100 pages and they quit it because that thing is hard. I remember
Dude.
that in my reading class, they told me you have to read 100 pages, and I was like, "Oh my freaking god!"
Dude,
The language is
I'll tell you.
completely different.
With Don Quixote, though, I had help. I was listening. I had the audiobook in both English and Spanish, and I had the physical book in both English and Spanish, and I was reading and listening to all four of them at the same time. And I had a professor explaining all of the words I didn't
Okay.
know.
Okay, yeah, because it seems like that seems confusing as well because the translations from the past and the translations made from it's funny because the translations made from Spanish to English are way better than the translations made from
Yes.
English to Spanish
Yes.
because the
Absolutely.
people that speak Spanish don't have the respect for the language.
Well, but it's also just the way the languages work. Like there's a natural poetry in English that like you can it translates very well. You can take pretty much any language and like extrapolate and create
because there are
nuance and stuff.
so many words.
It's a
in English.
lot harder to do it the other way around because so many other languages that aren't English are just so specific, or like the rhyming schemes just are completely different.
Yeah.
It's a lot
But
harder.
it takes love. That's what I think. It takes love because if you understand English and you care for the language, you care to take the time to do it. That's why, I hate translations.
Yeah.
When I read Warbreaker, I'm starting to read in the prologue now. I have no idea what any of this means.
Well, Vasher is a character. That's his name. And
Oh,
he's
yeah, I
and
know.
he's in prison.
And he's funny. No, never mind. It's not funny. It's funny the situation that he's in prison.
Yeah.
Yeah, but what is Tetelir? Oh, it's a city. No?
Yeah. There's going to be a couple of words where you're like, oh, that's a name. That's a city.
There are a lot of funny words. Yeah, here. I'm gonna just put it a word and just translate it to
You'll
taco.
figure it out.
I just put taco and instead
It
of
jumps. It jumps right in. So the prologue just jumps into it, action, and just like throws you in the deep end.
Yeah.
And then the next chapter will kind of introduce more world building.
I'm gonna copy all the text and switch the words that I don't get for taco or tamales. I don't know. To make it easier. I don't know, man. Burritos, churros. I don't know. Like basher could be like I don't know. Tinga.
That's hilarious.
But yeah, I'm actually gonna get I'm gonna get off so you guys
Okay.
can go on because I had to play Aran Clash right now in League of Legends and I'm gonna have fun. See you guys later in the week. Talk to you literally later, Mexican.
Yep. Bye.
Yeah, I just wanted to your recommendation on the name, like just real quick. I just ask you real quick. Do I just name the other channel, Angry Mexican?
Oh, the second channel.
Yeah. or
I don't
if it's
know.
available.
it is probably, or the Angry
I'd be
Mexican.
shocked.
Or you can just say more Angry Mexa or something.
No, it's different type
Okay.
of
We're
cartoon.
doing a like collaboration channel.
Oh,
I don't know. I would say like studies in Mexican or
Lessons
studies
in Mexican. No.
Yeah. We'll hash it out.
Yeah, we hash it out. Yeah, but see you later, guys.
See ya.
have a good one.
You too. Oh, it was a pleasure to see you again, Jordan. I hope
It was nice to
I
meet you
don't
again.
see you in like a year. I hope it doesn't have to be a year. I hope I can read Warbreaker and we can talk about it a little bit in another
Yeah.
I
stream.
appreciate
Yeah,
it.
hell
That'd
yeah.
be fun. Sure.
That'd be fun, brother. See ya.
Later.
Right.
Mark Clark says the worst book he's ever read is War and Peace. I haven't read that one, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's talk about just the convention. Like, what were your thoughts on the vibe and how crazy it was at
I
Dragon
mean,
Steel?
it was like almost double the amount of people from last year.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
so much space. You could tell that they were struggling with the growth of it and trying to get the communication to the volunteers because
Mm-hmm.
they've probably like double the amount of volunteers. But it's a good problem to have, I'd say. No, the cosplays were more insane this year. The games I think were better, and I didn't get to go to too many panels unfortunately since we had our booth demand. But what I did
Yeah.
get to go to, I thought was really good.
Oh man, I missed. There were a couple panels that I wanted to get to that I missed because there was an accident on the freeway.
Oh,
So
Lame.
I wanted to go to like the world building one on the second day with what's his name? The guy who did Aragon. Paolini.
Paolini or whatever.
Paolini. Yeah. Christopher Paolini.
Yeah.
I didn't go to very many panels. I was mostly just talking to people. Oh, and the other panel I missed was because I got in line for the store and didn't realize that was going to be a 3-hour experience.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because compared to last year, the store was big last time. And it was like, it wasn't even twice as big this time. It was like 5 times the size. It was huge. They sectioned off the Brandon Sanderson store into a completely different wing of the convention center, whereas last year it was just in the exhibit hall with everything else. So
Yeah, we
they
talked about
dedicated
this on
a
our-
segment.
We talked about this on our last episode. I think the problem was they said, okay, we have about double number of people. Let's double up the number of registers because last year they had 2, this year they had 4. But I
They
think
had
it's
6.
a problem that
They had
they
6.
yeah,
Yeah,
but
they
I
more
think
than
they
doubled it.
And so it's one of those things. I think they looked at it and said, okay, that should be enough. But it's a problem that scales much more than, exponentially. And so
Yeah.
they needed probably double that to get people through.
At a
And
minimum.
it's also if anyone's ever watched the Defunct Land video on lines at Disneyland,
yeah.
one of the things he talks about is of how sometimes when you create a bigger space, all you've done is also you've lowered the cost to going in, so more people decide to go in, and you actually make more people want to go. And I do think their offerings this year at the convention were even better than last year, and so yeah, I think a lot of people are like, I got to get to the store. Yeah, I got lucky. So my co-host Bill, he went into the line for 3 hours at the start, and once he has back issues, so he really toughed it out just to try and get there. Because once he's halfway through, he's like, well, I can't go back.
Yeah, it's the sunk cost fallacy, except that that there's a reward at the end. So you're like,
Right.
Yeah. Well, and it's not like he's thinking the line's going to get better if I come back later. So
yeah,
he has to
See,
do
I
it.
had-
So the next day I went, and last year it was nice because it was in the convention center. Those of us who were exhibitors, we were able to go a little bit early because it was in the same area.
Yeah.
So I went in because I found out the volunteers were allowed to go in early. So I went in and like, hey, are the exhibitors allowed to go in early on day 2? And the volunteer who I asked was standing there holding a sign that said, "This is the line." and he's having to manage all those people. He's like, I don't really
I
know.
guess.
Just go in and ask them if you're allowed to. And I said yes. And then I proceeded to just walk in and start buying things because once you get the answer you're looking for, you don't ask questions.
Don't ask again.
Yeah. And meanwhile, I found out my co-host Amy was in the line at that moment.
See,
She sees me like, Jordan, and I'm like, shut up.
See, I totally played it wrong. Like I didn't want to buy a VIP pass, but my wife made me as a present. And I was like, I don't need a VIP pass. Turns out I could have skipped the entire line with the VIP pass, and I didn't know.
Really?
I would have had to show up early, and that was the problem. I got there late because of traffic, because an accident, right?
And I didn't know about the accident. I'm willing to bet that was also part of the problem. Is a lot of people who would have gone early got shoved to the more crowded line.
But I did hear afterwards someone else with a VIP pass said it was still a 2-hour wait. We saved like an hour from
Still an hour.
But it was nuts. Like last year, so they have like regular exhibit booths that people had, and the Sanderson store was probably like 9 booths pushed together, right? Like in a square, and the line wrapped around one time. And it was maybe at maximum when there were the most people trying to get in, like a 20-minute wait. And this was 3 hours, and I got duped extra too because they had the guy directing people into the line, and half of the line was in a different room. And so it looked like, oh, once you get into the next room, you're in the store. But no, once you get into the next room, there's more line.
Yep.
And so there was a point where it was super long. And I was like, oh, I'll come back later. And there was a point where it was like half of what it was before. I was like, okay, I got in and then made it through the door. Like, oh no, it's another 2 hours.
Yeah,
Yep.
I'll be very interested to see how they try and solve the problem next year.
Man, it's gonna be, I don't know.
Well, it's just one of those things. Like no one really holds it against
Exactly.
them.
No. There's no one to blame. They literally last year they had 2 registers, and this year they had 6, and put it in a whole different section with a dedicated line. There's no way they could have predicted that.
Yeah.
But
it's just one of those things. It's a problem that you can only discover by doing it, unfortunately. Right. And they only get one shot at it. So
right.
Yeah, and I was talking to one of the volunteers and like, yeah, next year we're probably going to double it. I'm like, you're going to have to do more than double the registers. Like next year is going to be double what it was this year. You can't.
Yeah.
It's already a problem this year. If you double next year, it's going to get insane. Wow. But just the energy was so different.
It's such a wholesome energy.
It was. And you went both years too, right?
I've been all 3 years actually.
3 years. Okay. And so I didn't go 3 years ago. I'm assuming it was a lot smaller.
Oh yeah, well it was done at the Provo Center.
Oh right.
And so it's basically from 1 to 2. It basically grew about 75%, and then this year doubled. So yeah, the first year we had the best location ever. We were right next to the Lightweaver Foundation, which is their charitable organization, and right across from all of the authors. And so it was
the authors, man.
Yeah, it's hard to top that. So we'll never get better position than that ever again.
Well, this year let's talk about the authors. Last year there were maybe 15 tops, like independent authors, right?
Yeah.
That's being generous. It was probably like 10 to 15 booths.
Yeah, I'd say about about a dozen
of independent authors selling their books. And most of those booths were like 2 or 3 authors that went in on a booth and were sharing it. Like Dan Wells had his own private booth, and a couple other people had private booths, and the rest were like 2 or 3 authors sharing. This year was insane.
It was an entire row.
There were probably 50 authors
Wow.
of independent authors, people I'd never even heard of, selling really, really cool junk. I bought a whole bunch of indie books, and just seeing that happen, like this is a space that doesn't exist. It's a market that hasn't existed until now. Like Brandon Sanderson has effectively created a new market, and Dragonsteel is going to become the hub for all independent authors
Huh.
to get discovered. It's going to be huge.
Because first of all, you got to remember he's friends with a bunch of authors to begin
Yeah.
with that he grew up with, but now he's a teacher. He's got his own students that are now breaking into the scene as well, and so yeah, there's an entire a Sandersonian ecosystem, which there's no way he thought that was going to be a thing.
Yeah.
It was so bizarre. Like the whole time I was there, my jaw was just on the floor, just like, what am I experiencing? This shouldn't exist. This doesn't feel real. And it was wonderful.
Yeah, well, and they have so many cool things there. Like they had the mock fights with the Salt Lake Crusaders, and they were doing a bunch of medieval stuff, but also like recreating fights from some of his books.
Mm-hmm.
And then they had the dang, I always forget their name, but the Hoyd's Museum. And
yeah, I didn't check it out this year because it looked like it was the same, but I probably
it was
should have
the
gone
same.
in.
Did you do the Mbot adventure?
I didn't. I was
so it was
busy.
incredibly corny, but like appropriately so.
But it was VR. It was cool.
Yeah, it was a VR thing. It was really cool. It's just these little things that are just there. There was flavor.
So much. There was so much extra stuff this year. They had an entire wing dedicated to crafts, 24/7. Every hour was a new craft. You could just leave your kids there, right, and go have fun. It was awesome. Crazy. I saw there were so many kids there. It was like it wasn't just like, it's not Comic-Con. It's Comic-Con without all of the gross stuff. Right? Like it's a family friendly Comic-Con without people who smell bad.
Yeah, well, and then on top of it, it's just so it's always just nice to get to hang out with other people who share your passion, because you don't normally get to.
I wasn't even upset that I had to wait 3 hours in line, because again, it was like, wow, this is a problem no one could have foreseen. But I was just talking with people for 3 hours, just random strangers. I ran into a married couple who brought, literally, he was like, couldn't have been more than 4 months old. Their 4-month-old baby boy, who they named Dazen from Lightbringer.
Yeah.
And we talked for 2 hours standing in line, and then I met a different group of strangers waiting in line to check out for another hour. And it was fun just talking to people with the same interests.
Yeah, that's awesome. I've never been to any convention before. I always wanted to go to a Comic-Con or something like that, but I'm always been broke, can't afford it.
The tickets are relatively cheap.
Yeah, I really want to. There's a lot of really good conventions here in the Utah area. I really want to go to a board game convention, and I really want to go to Sanderson.
Sanderson is a board game convention too. They have an entire wing that's just board games. I didn't even go in that wing because I was too busy doing other stuff.
Yeah, it's
for sure.
They just it's an absolute wonderland for nerds, and the thing is, Brandon just said, I wanted to host a convention that I would like to attend. He told a really cool story this year in the opening remarks about his first convention, where he talked about how he was in, I can't remember if it was high school or middle school, but one of his teachers just dropped this flyer on his desk, said, "I think this is for you," and it was for a contest, or for a writing contest, and it was going to be some local convention in Nebraska, but in order to participate, you had to go. So he went to his first convention, and a bunch of kids found him, and he was like the
Just
only
adopted
kid
him.
there
Yeah.
who wasn't, related to
Family
someone
member
who was
of someone who
presenting.
had to be there. Yeah.
And so they just adopted and said, "All right, this is what you got to do." And they took him around, they showed him the ropes, and he just told this story. It's like, so if you find someone who looks like they're alone, it's like, see if they would like to be adopted, make new friends, like, because this is what it's about. Like it's just, it's so incredibly almost saccharine how wholesome it is.
Yeah.
And that's what he wants from this convention. He wants people to become friends.
That's
And
amazing.
I think the one thing it's missing, which is not going to be a problem for many years, for a couple, it's going to be solved very soon, is like all of the panels are Sanderson themed, right? But even this year, there was a lot of, compared to last year, there was a whole lot of branching out, and not everything was, Cosmere stuff, right?
Yeah.
I think the main event is always going to be his book release, because let's be honest, he's always going to have a book to release every year. It's Sanderson.
He released
There's-
5 this year.
I know.
Yeah.
There's never going to be a year where he's like, "I'm sorry, I don't have any books to release." Okay, the main event is always going to be his book release. But I think we're going to see in future years, like, the emphasis is going to become less and less on Sanderson himself, and it's just going to become this hub for people who like fantasy books, or even, like, it's going to become something bigger than him.
Yeah.
Which is crazy because he's huge.
Yeah, he and the thing is that I love about him is there's no drama with him. Like, the most dramatic I've ever seen him get was, well, I guess it was this year when he had the Brandon Sanderson is your god, article drop, and that wasn't him.
That wasn't his fault.
Yeah.
No,
It's
but and the way he
true, but it wasn't him. Like,
yeah, and the way he responded to it was with absolute class and tact.
absolutely.
Yep.
Even him finally speaking out on the Wheel of Time was done with so much tact that there were some people who, like, still believe that, like, oh no, he really liked the season. And we're like,
Well, he
because he
said
says
so at
he
the convention.
does. But if you
But
actually
he said-
listen to what he's criticizing, there was a lot that he
Well,
didn't like.
The thing that he says in particular is he hates how it ended, and it all goes back to build-ups and payoffs.
Yep.
And he's very big on that, because no matter what type of story you're telling, that's what people are tuning in for. And it's because someone asked him, it's like, who's your dream, like, casting for Mistborn or whatever? And he's like, right, like, I'm not really going to have too much say on that. Right now, I'm just trying to see if I can get them to listen to me on story. If I can get them to listen to me on that, I'll be happy.
Yep.
Yeah, that was it was disappointing, but also, like, super encouraging to hear the adaptation news, right? Which, because he hadn't addressed it at all. The last time we heard, which is how you conned me into going this year, was, there's next year he's definitely going to announce the adaptation news.
I didn't expect 2 different Hollywood strikes to delay things.
Obviously there were extenuating circumstances, but he finally addressed it. He's like, yeah, we were literally, like, in the casting seat, right? Like, I was watching people on stage in miscloaks read lines. And then it all fell apart, right? And we know why. But the question, and thanks to, it was Simply Nerdy who asked him the question on
Nice.
Would you consider just funding movies yourself? And I loved his answer. He was like, I am not saying no. I'm saying definitely not yet. But his answer is always
went to
full
all the
of class.
complication.
Yeah, he's like, I don't want to take your money and then screw it up, because I don't know how to do Hollywood yet. And he says, like, yet, like, he's learning it, right? Like, he's like, I'm not saying no. I'm saying that's not what I'm looking at right now.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, right now for him, waiting does nothing but improve his ability to have
It
control. of
does.
things.
He's
Exactly.
getting more and more leveraging power every year.
And so, why if you're in his situation, why rush it?
Exactly.
Like, wait until
Yep.
you think you have the perfect solution.
Well,
Because
and he pretty much all but
the
admitted
biggest Kickstarter of all time.
he also all but admitted if it happens, it's going to be a cinematic universe. He's like, I'm not looking for someone to just make a movie, and I'm looking for a partner who's going to make the Cosmere movies, which is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my favorite thing about it is he's always so sincere and detailed with his answers to things.
Yeah.
And he wants to tell people as much of his thought as he can reasonably do when you also have things like NDAs and the fact that you don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
And you can tell too by his answers that he's already thought about these things himself.
Yeah.
Like so many of the things that he's been asked, he's already asked himself those same questions and has answers. And he,
well, and even if you're going on the most basic questions like lore within his universe,
right?
He literally has a team of scientists who are dedicated to studying his universal magic and poking holes at it so that he has ammunition for these psychopaths who ask him these crazy questions at conventions.
Yeah.
Because you guys are all crazy. The questions that he gets are like, what on earth is going on?
Yep.
And he has answers to them.
He's like, oh yeah, that's a good question because this, and I suppose it would work like this. You're like, oh, okay. Yeah.
He has a team of physicists in analyzing his magic.
One of the coolest. So I got to go to the Sunlit Man launch party. It was really cool. And two of the people who were there were Peter and Kara Ahlstrom. Peter is his main copy editor, and Karen is his continuity editor. So she knows all the deep secrets.
That is a tough job.
Well, so one of the things it's like, has there ever, I asked Peter, like, have you ever proved him wrong on something? It felt really good. And he's like, yes. And he starts going into it was an argument over some ship type. I can't remember the specifics of it. And it's like, no, it's not a sloop. A sloop is this thing right here. I think a sloop is this. He's like, no, it's not. And like they argued over it, went and looked it up. And he's like, and I was right. It's not a sloop. And then the other cool thing is, as Brandon has been expanding the way he writes, I asked him, because I knew the answer to this, but I just kind of wanted to set him up for a cool story. And I was like, have you ever had to write for Brandon? And he talked about how in one of his young adult series, Steelheart, basically it was getting like a couple weeks to print, and Brandon's already on the other book. This is after the third or fourth edit. They had somehow missed something where a character literally couldn't have been somewhere. And he's like, oh no. And he tells Brandon, and Brandon just tells him, I can't deal with it.
Yeah,
you do it. And so he had to rewrite it and try and make it in Brandon's voice. And he's like, did anyone notice it wasn't Brandon's voice? And no one's like, he's like, excellent.
That's awesome.
And that's the coolest thing is he has this incredible team under him, and they've had the benefit of growing very slowly. This year's been a challenge for them because
methodically.
Yeah. And because suddenly, and so, asked like, what's an example? And he talks about how, it used to be I did this, and this, thing 1, 2, and 3. Well, we're a bigger company now. And so we've hired some people to do things. He's like, but there's all this confusion because sometimes it's like, well, do I do this thing still now? Or is that this new hire we got? Is that their responsibility? Am I stepping on their toes if I do it? And they're trying to figure out what is everyone's responsibility now that we have all these people.
Yeah.
And it's just the growing pains, because at the same time, there's a piece of him, he talks about how he doesn't want to give it away because it's his, he always does this, and someone else might do it differently.
And it just pause for a second and remember that this conversation is about a guy who writes books. Like this isn't a thing. This doesn't. It's baffling. He's an author, and these are the growing pains that he has. He has continuity editors and people dedicated to making sure that it like what kind of problem is that to have? It's insane.
Well, but it's a very intentional problem.
Yeah,
Like he set
yeah.
up basically. 'Cause if you think about it, Brandon has set things up so that he can spend all his time writing as much as possible,
Yeah.
and that's something a lot of authors struggle with because they have to be their own promoter. They have to be their own looking for who's their agent going to be. But Brandon sets things up so he can just be there on the writing treadmill and just continually churn things out. And it's one of those things. It's a luxury, but it's a luxury he created.
Yeah,
definitely.
He's created a space that didn't exist before, and it's fascinating to watch. And I know people say this all the time. They want him to finish Song of Ice and Fire. I don't think. First off, the tone is vastly different, and that's not the tone that Brandon is good at.
It's actually he's talked about that specifically, not finishing it, but before he ever got published, he wrote something like 12 or 13 books before he ever got published. Which is
a couple
insane.
of his book, the first iteration of Mistborn was supposed to be. He was trying to be dark and edgy, like
because right at that moment, that Song of Ice and Fire was selling like hotcakes, and
right.
Producers, no matter where they go, are very uncreative, and all they tell people to do is do whatever is popular then. I mean, look at how many look at the Mistborn books, and see the covers look so similar, like they're trying to be Harry Potter.
Yes,
and
absolutely.
It's just clear that they don't know what they're doing.
He's told that story several times. He's like, people didn't know that who they were looking for was Joe Abercrombie. They're like, okay, be Game of Thrones, but also funny, and all. But you're like, okay, but what does that mean? That's not a thing, right?
And so he had he was miserable trying to write like George R.R. Martin because he's not George R.R. Martin. George R.R. Martin's a very different writer, a very successful one. And it's just one of these things where I don't think anyone would buy that he's gonna of the things he could finish of someone else's, maybe something from Pat Rothfuss, but
that's closer.
But even their writing styles are way different.
His prose is very different, but it would be a challenge.
It's because as Rothfuss has talked about this, where Brandon is a serial outliner, which is why he can get book after book, and he never does more than 3, maybe 4 or 5 edits on the book. Whereas Rothfuss edits over and over and over because he wants that prose. And when you read his book, his prose is like a finely tuned machine.
It's beautiful.
Gorgeous.
It's beautiful.
And so they're just very different people. The fact that he could finish Robert Jordan's book is only because he has such respect for Jordan's work, and that's his hero.
Right. He was already immersed in it too.
And the writing style is not that far different than his own, I would say.
I could see him maybe consulting and helping authors outline. Right.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want him to, because I want him to expand his own work. I want him to focus on Cosmere. But I could see him. I don't see him finishing Song of Ice and Fire or Kingkiller Chronicles. I could see him coming on as a consultant and saying, "Hey, I'll outline it for you, and then you fill in the prose. I'll help you organize your thoughts, maybe." But I doubt that would happen either. But I could see that happening before him just.
I think his version of that. I think that's his class that he teaches. I think that's him, because he wants to pay it forward, and he wants there to be the next generation of authors. Right. And if he keeps doing that, there's going to be a whole new generation.
Two of our younger brothers really want to write books, and they've written their own little, fiction novels or whatever. But they've been directly inspired by Brandon Sanderson specifically.
Yep.
Well, and it makes a lot of sense when you think about it, because one of the other things that I love that he does is he approaches it realistically, and he talks big about how it's really weird to him when as soon as you tell someone they're writing, they always ask, "Are you going to get published?" And he's like, "No one. If they're playing basketball, someone's like, well, when you going to the NBA?"
Right.
And
Yeah.
and so he's really pushing people trying to be creative, and I think it's very healthy for the soul.
Yeah,
I agree.
I will write a book eventually. It's going to be a long process, though. So
Yeah. I've got several ideas for books as well, but I'm not very good.
I keep getting, I already know the story and it's outlined.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'll get self-conscious about it. I'm like, okay, how does he solve this mystery? Like, that clue is way too obvious, right? Like,
Nope.
But I mean, that's part of why he has all those
Yeah.
beta readers and stuff trying to figure it out. I mean, ideally, you want people to figure it out a page before it's going to happen, because you get that thrill of I figured it out, but you still got the mystery. Mystery is the hardest part, I think, of writing, just because you have no clue how obvious it is from one person to another.
Steven!
What's
up, everyone?
Simply Nerdy in the house. We already talked about how you guys were responsible for the question on self-financing movies. So
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Good question.
It was a great
It was a
question.
really good question. I was surprised no one asked that before that point.
it was such a good answer.
You'd
Joe.
be shocked at the number of questions. You're just like, oh, certainly there must be a word of Brandon on this. No one's asked him this.
Yeah. Well, you do get a lot of repeat questions too from people who haven't immersed themselves and watched every single live stream he's ever done. You're like, come on, guys. He's already answered this question. He gets the disability question every single time. You're like,
It's so true. Yeah, it does.
half of the stuff on the 17th Shard Wikipedia are answers from his open-ended forum questions. I'm like, where did this come from? Is this in a book? No.
like someone had the audacity to ask him if he liked the Wheel of Time TV show this year, and I'm like, it was like 2 weeks ago. He doesn't.
I know. I'm like, what are you guys doing?
That's the other thing. He puts so much content out there that a lot of people they don't even know it's out there.
Yeah.
He is an absolute machine. I mean, he figured out how to turn his book signing time into a podcast. So that he can hang out with his friends.
So
We
brilliant.
got to talk about the signings, okay? Because on top of that, this year he introduced lightning signings.
Yeah.
Which, because there are so many people at the convention, he has said that the original intention of the conventions was to get people to be able to meet with and sign his books, and he's like, now there's so many people coming, it's physically impossible for me to get everyone signed. So everyone who buys a ticket gets a raffle to one of the signings. He did like 20 signings across the 2 days. When he wasn't presenting, he was doing a signing, and because even that wasn't enough, he had to do lightning signings, so there were different tiers. You could get a signing where you ask him a couple questions and get 2 or 3 things signed, and then if you didn't get that, you could get into the lightning signing, which was
the golden ticket.
You stand in line, hold out your book, and he comes down and signs it, and you're not allowed to talk to him. He just walks down, and there are literally hundreds of people in line, and he just goes doop 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 doop. And I helping I hung out with my friends who wrote the Sky. Shoot, it's Sky
Dragon Thief or
Skyward.
It's Dragon Thief and Dragon Guard. I'm trying to remember the name of the series.
And for the record, I bought
Dragon
both
Sky.
books.
Skyfall something.
I bought both books because of Alan. So,
dude, they're good. But we were right next to the entrance to where they were doing all the signings. So I would frequently just go in and just watch. It was ethereal. Even in the lightning signings, he stopped to talk to people, which was against the rules. He was talking to everyone in line. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like, he cares so much.
One of the coolest things I've ever seen as far as a fan thing was Jean Rhys Davies was once at a convention, and someone stood up and they had handmade an axe after Gimli, and John Rhys Davies understood that this was a very big fan, and he then like had him come up and he's like, look at this, and does it like in the Gimli voice, and like it praises his work, because he understands that for him, he goes to a convention probably once a month. He tells the same stories over and over again. Yep. But for that fan, this is their only time, and it matters a lot to them. Brandon's never lost that understanding of, for these people, this is the special moment. Don't ever let yourself get jaded, which is so hard to do.
It's
because
really hard.
If you do something over and over again, how do you not get jaded?
So hard.
Well, and also just the fact that he's this ultra public figure. You know, if you have like one bad day, like you're gonna ruin someone's image of you. And he's always on. He's just happy and amicable always. And
so
that's hard to do.
We had Anthony, one of our other hosts on our Simply Nerdy show, who actually got the
signing?
Personalized signing.
Oh, and he got in the good one.
He got in the good one.
Was that the golden ticket?
It's funny because you could have done the lightning signing, and you still would have talked to. He talked to. I literally watched him talk to one person in the lightning signing for 10 minutes. I'm like,
dang,
what is going on?
Anthony didn't get 10 minutes, but he tried to talk him into playing the Xenoblade Chronicles games,
Yeah.
which I guess he's heard of. But anyway, he got all 4 secret projects signed, and he was saying that he was still very personable, and it was late. It was late that last night of the conference, and he was still there, smiling, interacting with fans, talking with them one by one. It's just a testament to his character. I think he's just absolutely phenomenal.
Yep. A great guy. That's amazing. Earlier, like his YouTube channel is just like a year old, right? He started
a little bit over a year,
I think it's older than that.
Because I remember when there was a...
It's pretty new.
Yeah, he was on with Shadiversity talking about story. They did a collaboration together. There's another YouTube channel that I watch, mostly about prehistoric stuff and castles and swords and stuff. But he wrote a book, and he's a big fan of Sanderson, so he had him on his channel, and he said, "Hey, Sanderson, you should do a YouTube channel. It would be really successful." And he's like, "I don't know if I have time for that." And literally in the thing, he's like, "Oh, maybe I can figure something out when I'm signing books or something, when I'm doing my autographs." And that's where it came from. I was like, "That's brilliant!" And then it just blew up.
It's so funny, the people who like are new to his channel who are like, "Why are you always so distracted when you're doing the podcast?" And you're like, because he's always doing something. Like the podcast only exists because he's distracted. Like
that's the thing. He's not actually distracted. Like signing a book.
No, he's not.
He's paying full attention. Like that was one of the problems in like of the many in the whole Brandon Sanderson God thing. It's like, oh, he's only half listening, and it's like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Stop.
Yeah, it's the Sky Stone Chronicles.
There it is. Yep,
gotcha.
So I looked it up. His YouTube channel is actually 10 years old. But
he's only been doing like videos, seriously, right?
He hasn't been posting
the first live signing session was 3 years ago.
Okay. Well, I guess
it's been
wow.
Yeah.
I thought it was really just like a year and a half ago.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. That was the first one, and then almost everything is just his lectures. And we don't get another. We got a few videos here and there on script notes for Sonic the Hedgehog.
That one was so good. I wanted to do that again. Those videos are good, and I was like, "Who wants more?" And I was like, "Oh, me." I love to hear how you change these movies and how terribly they end. I'd love to hear.
It'd be incredible, but yeah, I'd rather him write.
Yeah, Sanderson, dude, he has. We're talking about it. He has a YouTube channel, Mexa.
Yep, he's very active on his YouTube channel. It's awesome.
If you want to learn how to write, go check out his lecture series.
He has all of his lectures for free on his YouTube channel.
For free. Right there.
Well,
anyone.
Think of it's what's so cool about the internet is like if you wanted to learn under a master storyteller, like say even 100 years ago, you would have to go find them. You'd have to go talk to them. You'd have to basically live with them because that's the only way to do it. Now, anyone can get advice from a master storyteller for free from the comfort of the toilet.
Yeah.
It's where I do all my storytelling.
Which I don't. Yeah. Oh, there's stories to tell, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, exactly.
Yep.
No.
So, Jordan, I
Well,
assume
that's
you
the other
went to
cool thing I
Dragonsteel?
loved
Yeah,
about.
he was there.
Okay.
Go on.
Oh, I think you froze.
One thing. Oh, he's frozen. Oh, okay.
He's frozen.
All right, let's talk behind his back. Yeah, they were there. They had a booth. The
Oh.
Sandersonian Institute of Cosmology.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I passed that. Okay, you're right. You're
Yeah,
right.
so we've been
David,
talking
you're going
about
next year, right?
I really want to go.
Oh, I'm
next
going.
year.
I am going every year. I said before.
Oh, absolutely. I'm going every year. from now on.
It's crazy. I didn't even want to go this year, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad Jordan talked me into it.
Jordan's completely gone now.
It was a lie. He got me to sign up over a lie under the pretense that they would announce they would probably be announcing an adaptation news.
Yeah. Next year.
Next year. That is my prediction. That is my number one prediction. Is we will get an adaptation next year. I hope.
I don't care. I honestly don't care. Like, I want take your time, Sando, make the man go. So
We're not going to get a trailer or anything. We're just going to get like, hey, I partnered with X to make Y.
Stop.
That's it. That's it.
Stop spelling my name wrong on purpose.
Stop it. Anthony's prediction is we're going to get Stormlight 5. He wanted me to let y'all know that.
Yes. I watched all of your Dragonsteel videos.
Oh, thank you, David.
I still need to finish mine.
It's hard.
We never got the promised pictures of all the cosplayers.
From me?
Yeah.
I didn't promise.
You actually did. I didn't get very many. I turned it into a YouTube short, and Lisa and I were in line for merch. We were in line for merch when we should have been at the cosplay the first day.
Yeah.
And that's the mistake we made. Anthony said there was a mist wraith, and there was all these cool things. I was like, Anthony, did you get footage? Did you record them? Did you take pictures? No. What are you doing?
Yeah.
What's your problem?
Yeah, I kept forgetting.
You totally dropped off. What were you saying?
That was 100% my problem, and that's why I haven't released my Dragonsteel video yet. It's not very good, like, because I was just so distracted. I didn't get enough footage, so I'm gonna release it. But it's not gonna be my best work. And also, it was way too short. So the premise of my video is I brought some free stuff to give away. I had a sign that said "free book" with an asterisk. And anyone who wanted a free book had to answer 3 questions correctly.
It was brilliant.
And the questions were: have you read The Wheel of Time? Do you like the Wheel of Time TV show? And are you subscribed to my channel?
It was brilliant. I'm totally stealing that for next year.
Yeah, I'm going to do it again.
I don't have anything free to bring. I don't think.
But
so.
I didn't think it was going to go so fast. And everyone had the same opinion on the Wheel of Time TV show. What's shocking, it'll make good content, is the one person I talked to who, I guess you could say was more ideologically aligned with the showrunners.
Yeah.
Because she said, she couldn't even bring herself to say that she liked the TV show. She was like, look. I think it's great because it's the most diverse casting of all time. The show's not good. I'm like, okay, you get a free book. That's kind of the right answer. So yeah, but yeah, the joke was, I didn't turn anyone away. The joke was that they'd already answered 3 questions because the first question I asked was, do I have permission to film you? So, because no one was going to be subscribed to my channel because no one's. I'm very small, but yeah,
I'm subscribed to your channel.
I'm saying, the people there, obviously, there are not very many people who are already subscribed. But I was expecting it to take a lot longer, and I only had 3 things to give away. I had the Way of Kings, I had the Words of Radiance, and I had the extended edition of Return of the King on DVD, like the box set.
Nice,
love it.
So I to give away.
I interviewed 4 people and gave away 3 prizes.
I was there for the fourth.
Oh no, sorry, 5 people, because one of them hadn't read the Wheel of Time, and 2 people just hadn't read the Wheel of Time, so they were immediately disqualified. And even the people who liked the show didn't like the show. It was funny. So the other guy, he was like, I did enjoy the show, but it's because I haven't read. Look, I've only read the first third of the first book, and I enjoyed the show. It's definitely not accurate. I'm like, you've read a third of the first book and you could tell that the show isn't accurate. Like, you get a prize. Like,
exactly.
That's hilarious.
Prize for you.
It was pretty fun. Obviously the punchline of the joke is that the free stuff I'm giving away is stuff that most people would have already had. Right. Like,
yep.
But they were all signed, right?
I did.
Yeah, giving away
signed,
Sanderson books at a Sanderson convention isn't
that
exactly.
That was the joke. That was the joke, right? But I found people who's like, I don't have the Way of Kings. I was thinking it was going to be really hard to give away Words of Radiance, but that was the first one to go.
Dang.
So
wow.
They're like, yeah, I have the first one.
Speaking of Words of Radiance, how about that leatherbound that'll be coming?
I know. We are all
I-
doomed. Our wallets are doomed. And it comes
know.
with your own spren. Like, we're doomed.
See,
Not me.
I
The
have,
only leatherbounds I have, I got for free.
Dang, you lucky dog.
I have
That's awesome.
I have safety features enabled because I'm dyslexic and I don't read physical books anymore. So leather bands don't tempt me. As beautiful as they are, I almost bought the limited special edition of Gunmetal Gods, which the Kickstarter just ended, and awesome Zamir Akhtar just made $100,000. Congrats! I almost bought it, and I'm like, I know I'm never going to read this. I never have time to physically sit down and read a book. I always do audiobooks, but I was tempted.
Yeah,
No.
I'm an all digital guy, but the leather bounds tempt me hardcore.
I like to have the books because I'm all audiobook as well, but I like to have them so I can.
They are
lend them
gorgeous.
out.
They are absolutely gorgeous. I want them.
The
I would never use them.
only reason I have any leatherbound, it's leatherbound Elantris. It's because, and this is total streamer privilege, as a result of interviewing Kara Stewart one time, who's Brandon's logistics person. She runs all the conventions, the warehouse, and is the reason everyone gets their secret projects on time. We got to go see their warehouse, although it was before they had to upgrade to the next warehouse after they had already upgraded once before. And they gave us some of the, like, do you want some of these leather bounds? They were like misprint ones that they couldn't sell because there's something wrong with it that didn't pass their muster. And so I got a leather bound for free.
Well, those are worth more money, though.
They really are.
Yeah.
You did, no, I'm not even joking. Did you see the booth that was selling the collectibles? The misprints are worth like 3 times as much.
Yep.
Yeah,
Really?
no, the Sanderson Collectors Guild. We've been next to them 2 straight years now. They are incredible with their collections.
Yeah,
they are awesome.
Wow.
Amazing.
That's cool.
Yeah, you ever want to just have a fun time? Just go look up foreign covers for Brandon Sanderson's books. Some of them you're just like, why is this not the cover? Because it's just it's metals all get out.
The Mistborn covers for the UK, the white ones.
Yes.
Yeah.
Those are so nice looking.
Why?
But at the same time,
Why?
I agree
you'll
with
see
you.
some of them are. You're just like, what book were you doing? I think it's. Oh, I have to look it up. I think it's like the Bulgarian Mistborn cover or something. It's the. I'm gonna go find it. I gotta. I don't know what this. I don't know what book they thought they read.
Yeah. Meanwhile, in the English printings of the we've talked about this before, but the Alloy of Law switches wax and wane.
Yes, the characters are wrong.
It does.
I was so confused when I started reading that, and then come to find out that the illustrator didn't know what he was doing and switched the characters.
It's the Polish cover for Final Empire.
Yeah, share your screen.
Okay, this is
Or
definitely a thing.
I have 4 screens.
Let's see. How do I share a screen?
What is? I can look it up. The Polish cover of what?
Yeah,
Final Empire?
Polish of Mistborn. I have a link I can give you.
Yeah.
Control C.
Yeah, just share the link.
Can I do it in chat or?
Yeah, there's a private chat. You can.
Yeah, you can do it in the private chat. In the public chat, it might block out the URL.
Because the ones I'm getting look cool.
There we go.
Yeah, you can't share links.
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
well,
silly.
that's
I
a
wish
shame.
you could.
Well, wait. Let me just.
Spoiler
I'm gonna.
warning, proceed. Oh my god! What?
I don't see it. Wait, what?
Okay, share it. We're all
Gotta
waiting.
share this.
You can't do that, Alan. You can't react until we see it.
I
What's
had to
going on?
pull it.
We did an episode where we like stack ranked the covers, and I decided to throw in some of the foreign ones I found, and some of them are curious choices.
Oh. My gosh.
What?
What is this? Oh my
Apparently, in
gosh.
Mistborn, in Poland, is a lot steamier than I would have guessed.
Yeah.
Is this
No.
supposed to be Kelsier?
I
I'm
guess.
assuming. Who else would it be?
Why is he redhead?
I don't know.
He's got his
Well,
glass
and it's
knife.
like that's a
He's got
I
the
guess
mist
it's a
cloak.
glass-
He's not wearing the mist cloak, but he's got it.
no. He's. I mean, I guess technically he's wearing a mist cloak, pants, and nothing else.
Dang.
There's nothing around his neck though. Like it's
Yeah.
not even attached.
How is it?
Oh,
Yeah.
I like the Allomantic lines though.
Oh
It-
yeah,
it-
I didn't even notice those.
Yeah,
This
those
is
are
Like that's
cool.
the
This
thing.
is-
You can tell this is art for Mistborn. But
Yeah. This is book 1. This is Final Empire.
yeah, that's Final Empire.
See a lot of these.
Jeez.
guys.
Oh.
But there's some really good ones in
Yeah.
here. The Chinese, like the actual
I
Mandarin.
like this one a
That
lot.
one's
That was
amazing.
really cool.
But yeah, the Chinese Mandarin ones
That's good, too.
tend to have they be hit or miss, but some of them are really good as well. But no,
What
like
is that? That's a vinyl record. What is that? Oh.
but yeah, that's the
Ooh.
Chinese. That's the Chinese
Okay.
right there.
Dang.
And the
Dang.
Chinese ones all have this style for all his books. They're
Oh
really
my
cool.
goodness, that's
Why-
beautiful.
Dang.
It's clear they go to the same artist every single time in China.
Why is Kaladin in the background though? Who is that?
I mean, that could be
maybe-
the emperor. The
Who is
I'm
that?
trying to see.
Well, this has got to be the.
I think it's supposed to be a
Lord
Steel
Ruler.
Inquisitor, maybe? I don't know.
That's
Maybe.
really cool.
Yeah,
though.
that's
I
a
don't know.
good
I
question.
really like the
Matter, it looks
style,
awesome.
though.
No,
style's
yeah, it's
really good.
beautiful. Dang.
Does anyone use the spear in Mistborn?
Yeah,
Other
Lord
than the
Ruler
Inquisitors?
The Lord
the
Ruler.
Lord Ruler.
But that's the Lord Ruler.
Yeah, but it's kind of important, It's sort of literally the what they ram through.
Yeah, I know, but who else? This can't be the Lord Ruler.
No. Wait. He's got dark skin. That might be Sazed.
Could be.
Why does he have a
But-
spear?
I don't know why he has a spear.
Well,
He's got
Leave
like
it
a
alone.
robe on. Like,
It's
anyways,
fine.
These are dope.
those are beautiful.
But yeah, like you want to go down
That's
a rabbit
cool.
hole. Start looking up all the.
Gonna.
Okay, that last one was Japan, which is
Yeah.
definitely looks like an anime cover.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Oh yeah.
100%. Yep.
Dang.
I'm all for anime Mistborn.
I
That's
would watch
fascinating.
the heck out of that. And that might actually be the best way to present the story. Animation.
Yeah.
I stand. I want live action for Mistborn. I want animation for Stormlight Archive. Just because I don't think you can show the world of Spren correctly in live action, and so I think I would
Hot
like to
take.
get the people who do like Avatar:
Yeah.
The Last Airbender animation.
Yeah.
I've always thought that Warbreaker is kind of hard to adapt, unless it's an animation, because just all the colors and stuff,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway, that is the funniest thing.
That's
But
amazing.
yeah,
Thanks for sharing. That was awesome.
Yeah.
Polish Mistborn. It's spicy.
You've opened a rabbit hole, and I'm gonna have to go through and look at all these different covers. I'm doomed.
Well, the other thing I
This-
really like is that Brandon does go back and get better. Like the original Mistborn covers, they have a soft spot in my heart, but I like the style they're going for now
Oh yeah.
because it's going to be unified so that if you get all the paperbacks on your
Mhm.
shelf, and it'll be unified between eras 1 and 2.
Yeah.
This one looks very similar to the English release, except that the character design is just wildly different.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, but you're right that the color and the composition looks similar to the old.
Which is not my favorite style. I don't love the American covers. Oh my goodness! Wait! This is great too.
Whoa, dang.
Mistborn, if it was Castlevania,
No
Yeah,
kidding. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Is
Right?
this Vin? Is this Vin?
I
I
guess
assume that's Vin.
dark
Why is
haired.
she so busty? Isn't that like one of her defining characteristics? Is that she's kind of flat?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's she's
She's a tomboy, yeah.
She's cat-like.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I like that one.
hilarious.
That one looks more like The Witcher than like
Yeah,
Castlevania.
yeah.
It does. Yeah, you're right.
The thing to remember is that Brandon isn't the one who approves.
Oh, yeah.
That's all Tor.
Yep.
Yeah.
Mm. Absolutely.
Yep, that's all the publisher. So should we finally get into reviewing these 4 books we've been talking
Yeah.
about?
You haven't done it yet?
No.
Oh, we've been waiting for you.
Okay. Oh, sorry. My bad. Okay, let's go.
All right, let's do them in order. Secret Project 1, baby. Trust of the Emerald Sea. I liked it a
Yeah.
lot. It was a good book. Okay,
Yep.
Secret Project 2. Um,
That's all we need to say about it. Really, honestly, it was fantastic.
it was fun. It was really
Loved it.
fun. And
Loved it.
I think my biggest complaint is I loved the Easter eggs and the interconnectivity.
Oh,
But I was definitely worried. I don't know how approachable this book is to anyone who hasn't read the entire Cosmere, but apparently Jordan has friends who've read it and it doesn't even faze them.
it's actually my
Well-
wife's first Brandon Sanderson book too.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
And she's
I
fine with
found
it?
Yep, she's fine with it.
Well,
if
speaking as one,
if you want something more like The Princess Bride that has
It's
a little
good.
romance in
Yeah.
it, it's a really good book, even if you
It
don't
is.
get what's going on. It's just you just
So-
know that those are things I don't get yet.
yeah, exactly.
See,
And
and-
I have not read the Stormlight Archive yet. That's my one big hole. I've been waiting specifically until book 5 is close to being released, and the time is now. I'm going to start them. I'm going to binge them all before it's ready.
next
just
year.
in time. Okay, but and I agree. There's some things in the end that are like, okay, that kind of came out of nowhere. But I mean, I get the references with Hoyt, of course. I know who he is because he's in throughout the rest of the Cosmere, and I thought it was fine.
That one it's less Stormlight and more, Elantris, but Will Hoyt is Stormlight-esque, But yeah, that was my biggest fear. I was like, I really want to recommend this book to people because it's the Princess Bride, but like more quirky, maybe. I don't,
Yeah.
except and then
Right.
and then the very ending gets kind of weird, and I was like, I don't know if people could enjoy that, but apparently everyone did. So I'm gonna recommend it to more people now as a starting point.
You should.
Yeah, it was really fun,
great.
especially if you have spouses. I think this would be a really good entry
Oh.
point for spouses that, because it's a romance story.
Yep. Oh yeah, my wife's reading.
That's great.
My wife has read the Cosmere though. I don't have to worry
Yeah.
about that.
See, I've gotten my wife finally to read Warbreaker, and that's the only thing she's read. We started
Nice.
reading Mistborn as our first book, and she gave up. She didn't want to finish it, so I finished Mistborn, and then I read everything else from there. I read Warbreaker, I read Elantris, and I finally got her to read Warbreaker, and now she's like, "What else should I read? What else should I read?"
It's hard for even though I know Tress and Yumi are good introductions now too. It's still so hard for me to break from recommending Warbreaker to everyone.
Yeah.
Because it's saucy for women, right? It's got that it's sexy. It's a sexy book.
Oh yeah,
So girls like it. But also like political intrigue is fascinating, and I love the story. So it's still my go-to.
the
But
magic is still my favorite magic system of all of his magic systems. So
I like it. I like it a lot.
great. But yeah, I really
Yumi.
like Cress. I thought the spores were intriguing, and I loved learning about all the different ones and the practical applications that Tress uses in there. And I love she's absolutely terrified of this, but she's determined to see this through, and it comes across as confidence, and everybody thinks that she's an expert and she's holding something back, and it was really well done. I really enjoyed it.
My favorite thing about Tress is that it gave us the crossover I've been wanting for years with Mark Rober and Brandon Sanderson.
Yes.
Yeah, that was
that's
so
exactly
cool.
what I was thinking when I was doing it. I was like, oh, that's fluid mechanics. That's Mark Rober. And then it comes out they came across the ideas independently, and then he talked to Mark Rober, and he's like, oh yeah, that's exactly what it is.
So cool.
Yeah, that was a good.
It was a
good video.
very unique concept of sailing around on sand and stuff. And I liked there was always just an imminent danger with these spores, and like it was very unique magic system while simultaneously being like 100% Sanderson.
Yes.
Yeah,
And
I think that was sort of a constant theme between all 4 of the Secret Project books, is that all these worlds we're on, there is an imminent danger that, but these people find a way to survive.
yes.
Which, when you think he wrote this in the middle of COVID.
All right, hold on. Tress was your second least
favorite. So it's his.
So
Second to last place.
okay.
2 more that he likes more than Tress.
Oh, really? Wait, what?
Could you,
What?
Could you do me a favor and word that more confusingly, please?
There's 2 more you like better than Tress.
Yeah,
I think I agree with that. Out of the 4 Secret Projects, it was really good, but it's
Tress
probably my
was
third
his
favorite.
was his supra. What would be supra penultimate, anti-penultimate? I think it would be third place.
Yeah.
I put that one as my second place. Tress.
anti-penultimate.
My co-host Bill is an English major, and I
Yes.
once asked him, like, I need 4th and 5th, and he's
No,
told me it's pre anti-penultimate.
Oh
and
my gosh!
supra
Okay, I'm
pre-anti-penultimate.
gonna be using those now because penultimate is one of my favorite words.
Yeah, fifth place is super pre anti-penultimate.
Oh my
apparently.
gosh! Okay, super pre anti penultimate, pre anti penultimate, and anti penultimate. Okay,
Yeah.
wow, that's wonderful. Going back to Spanish, one of my favorite things in Spanish doesn't exist in English, and from what I understand, a lot of other languages. So we have today, or we have tomorrow and yesterday, and they can go further. So they have ayer, which is yesterday, and antier, which is
2 days ago.
an extra day. It's so great. It's so great. I love it.
Yep.
Antier is one of my favorite words in Spanish.
It's great.
Words are fun.
Yeah.
Anti-penultimate. That's wonderful.
Also, one more thing I liked about Tress too is there's been kind of a question in the Cosmere about the different metals and stuff, and people have been speculating about what silver might do. And I thought that was cool that we finally got a use for silver.
It's so true.
That
Outside of
might
Serenity,
pay off in other stuff. So
you're the nerdy boy though. What I want to understand is, because this planet does not have a shard and never has, correct? Yes.
Oh, we lost him again.
Oh, right. When
Gosh, dang it.
sorry,
stuff.
I am.
There you
There
go.
he is.
I am on my grandparents' internet, and I came here because my internet was being spotty. It turns out this was a bad plan.
So this planet does not have a shard and never has. Correct?
That we know of.
Okay.
That we know of.
But what we're seeing is still a form of investiture.
As far as the spores,
so it's using aethers.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's using the aethers are coming down from the moons that are somehow in geosynchronous orbit. It's really weird. Aethers are an old magic that actually predates the shattering. We see it a little bit in the Lost Metal with Twin Soul, and he claims that aethers actually predate Adonalsium.
Okay.
And so we don't, but we know it's some form of investiture. It's pulling water somehow pulls in from there. It's bizarre.
It's crazy.
So my theory is they're using the same magic source, but each aether or each shard has a different way of accessing investiture and expressing it.
I think that's a safe theory.
Yeah,
but it's the same source, not
I'd
like
agree.
a different god of magic.
Yeah.
Right.
So that was
Although
fun.
we could go that route too. You could say there's another one aside
Another
from
source.
Adonalsium, and then things will get really hairy.
One of the things that I love most about Tress, and we gave it a 10 out of 10. It's a great book. Was the overarching message about love and how love is more powerful than fear. Because we had that captain on that ship, and she ruled her crew with fear. And yes, they did everything she said, but out of fear. And when love came in, and Tress came in there and just won everyone's hearts just by being kind, they quickly overthrew their captain and would do anything for her, even die. And
yeah, Steven is a real sap, let me tell you.
I am.
You probably Interstellar is probably your favorite movie.
You know I'm a sap. That's right.
Well, you know what? Like, the other thing I really liked about it was we see this girl who has no specialty whatsoever, but she's able. We see her able to adapt, and we see her be clever. And
definitely,
she goes down. She tries to offer Tress up to the dragon, and Tress is like, "Wait a minute."
That was a fun scene.
I'm going to offer her up to the dragon.
Great scene. Scene.
It was fun to finally
by the way, we got
see
a
dragon. Yeah.
We got a dragon. I know.
Yeah.
That's okay.
I want to know how he got down there.
My favorite part about Dragonsteel was everyone trying. There were so many questions of people trying to guess who was the dragon that we've already seen.
And Sanderson said, I will tell you. Yes
in Sanderson stuff, the dragons can shapeshift. They can turn into a human form. And so he said, we've already seen one dragon that no one has guessed. And so like half of the questions from Dragonsteel, because he accidentally let slip like too much information this time. And so half of the questions just turned into, is it this character?
Yes.
Is that one the dragon? Is it? Nobody's dated one. Right.
Oh, yeah.
So he's dated a dragon and a shard.
I have a theory who it is. I think it's Slow Swift from Hero of Ages. He was an informant that Vin talked to.
Swift.
It was meant to be a reference to Tolkien. And so I think he's a dragon.
And that's not. Ooh. Well, I thought the informant in Mistborn was Hoyd.
Hoyd in Final Empire. She goes and visits a different informant in Hero of Ages called Slow Swift, which was his send up to. Because I don't know the specific. I'm not a Tolkien scholar.
Yeah,
so
I really need to reread Mistborn because that was before I knew all the secret stuff.
Right.
So I've all of the Hoyd references I've just gotten secondhand. I was like, I should probably go back and read that.
Right.
The Mistborn, the Hoyd references are very bare bones.
What was his name in Mistborn 1?
Hoyd in the first one.
He's named Hoyd.
He was.
Yep.
Yeah,
but in this third one, you see Hoyd, but she doesn't know it's Hoyd.
Yes.
Right. It was just an informant or a storyteller or whatever.
And in the second one, you don't even see him.
I think his best cameo is once again Warbreaker, the best book Brandon Sanderson has ever written, and you can't convince me otherwise. I love Hoyd's cameo in Warbreaker. So,
it's a good one.
Yeah.
Anyway, Tress is fun, super fun magic system. It doesn't take itself super seriously. It's a very, very lighthearted story, so it's a good introduction. It was Mark's second anti-penultimate favorite book. And for me, I think it's dead last, actually.
Ooh, okay. I'll take.
I had but I do need to reread all of them because for me, it was a progression. Every time I got a new one, it was my new favorite.
Mm-hmm. It's one of those things. It's Diet Awesome is still awesome.
Yeah.
Yes.
So exactly. I'm not 100% sure if that's the actual ranking. If it was 4, 3, 2, 1, or if I just need to reread them and actually analyze it. But each time I got it, I was like, wait, this is better than the last one was.
See, for me, the second one was my least favorite.
I liked it.
Same. Let's just go into that because
I don't understand that because I absolutely love.
That is a hot take too.
I absolutely love the medieval wizards, frugal wizards guide to surviving medieval
England. Yes, that's a mouthful.
Last place for me. We gave it like a 7.5.
Elantris. See, that makes no sense. Mark Clark says Elantris is the hill we die in. Thank you so much for the $1.99.
Elantris, yeah, it's a great book.
I do think
blame
Elantris is underrated. It is most people's like least favorite Cosmere book, but I love the political intrigue.
Yeah, it was
in that book.
Yeah, it's
For
so
me,
true.
the problem
action-
for me in Elantris is the fact that I figured out the problem way too early
Mhm.
because I read it
Oh.
after Mistborn. And
Okay.
so while all the characters are around here, oh, I wonder why this happened. You're just over here like, it's right there. And it's just the problem of
Gotcha.
trying to time the
The-
reveal of things.
Yeah, the solution is a little bit lackluster too. Like, oh, he draws a line on the ground and that fixes it. You're like, it makes sense.
makes sense.
It's not like the greatest reveal ever.
I'll be
but
honest,
the
I
re-
didn't see it, so it was a great.
the
for-
rest
For me,
of
the
the book-
problem was I just didn't like Sereni as the character.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
Mm.
Like, and
That's-
so
yes.
having 1/3 of the book constantly going back to her was a problem.
Yeah.
But Hrathen's chapters were great.
She has significantly
Definitely.
less to do, and but Hrathen is just phenomenally written, and I
I
love,
agree.
absolutely love that perspective of essentially a missionary on the wrong side. Like
Yeah.
It's still one of the best lines in all of Brandon's books. You should know by now, nothing I do is for show.
yes,
Yeah.
Elantris is criminally underrated, and I prefer political intrigue to action violence. Sanderson is really, really good at writing fun fight scenes, but I love political intrigue. And it's kind of crazy that I haven't read A Song of Ice and Fire yet, but because I love the politics.
Yeah. I agree. The political intrigue in Elantris is amazing, and I love the book for that. I just feel that the fantasy and the
I
magic is
Totally understand.
not on the other part.
The
with
finale's not as not.
Although the finale with him fixing the magic was predictable, right? But the second twist with the other people using magic in a different way, that I thought was a much better reveal in Elantris. That was intriguing, and I really want to know more about the world.
Coming.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's on the schedule, and I am much more interested in the next round of books for it.
Yes.
Oh,
Oh,
yes,
yeah, me too.
absolutely,
Absolutely.
That's one of my favorite things about Brandon Sanderson is he comes up with this magic system, and then there's always multiple different ways to utilize that magic system.
Yep.
And so I'm excited to explore that more in Elantris. But
I do
Back
think Emperor's Soul is better than Elantris.
I think Emperor's Soul's probably on a technical level the best thing
It
he's
is.
ever written.
Oh,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
It's
It's
really good.
gorgeous.
Yeah.
There's a reason why for a lot of people that's actually a book a lot of people recommend as the
That
first
is
book.
a
It's shorter
super good one to
and it's
recommend.
really well written, and
Like
it
that
gets people at the very beginning understanding the realmatic theory. So
Yeah.
if you're someone who is going to be turned off by magic, then it's a good book to find out. I'm not going to enjoy this.
that's true. The only problem with that, if you start with that, is there's nothing else that follows
It's
up
like
with
it. Yeah.
So
is-
yeah, it's
It
really
is
good.
like that one is almost like on par with like Pat Rothfuss level of beauty. You know?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I think is really cool is it's sort of a form meets function, because the whole book is about Shai doing this brilliant work of art in a fit of madness, and it's also how he sort of wrote the book,
Yeah.
because he wrote it over one vacation.
Yeah.
Dang.
It's
Yeah.
a good story.
Not know
That and Alloy of Law
That's awesome.
on the same vacation.
Dang.
That's Brandon Sanderson.
Wow.
Brother, man.
Goodness.
I think it is so funny to me that Mistborn Era 2 was a mistake.
Right?
Yeah.
Why?
It was a
love
writing
it.
exercise
Oh,
that
man.
turned off to be its own spin-off novel that turned out
like,
to be 4 books.
I'm just gonna write this thing to decompress, and then people read it and like, hey, you need to publish this. Or like, okay.
Well, one of the other cool
I
things
love
is
those.
it's opened up the door to more, because his original plan for Mistborn
It was
was
a trilogy
we're
of
going to have
trilogies.
Era 1, Era 1, Era 2, which was going to be the 1980s spy thriller, and
Yeah.
then Era 3, which was going to be the far-flung
Futuristic
future
sci-fi.
space opera.
Oh,
And
man.
so, but
and now we're probably gonna get 5.
yeah, because he's now considering an Era 4, which is going to be cyberpunk.
Oh,
Ooh.
Yeah.
He doesn't know if he's going to
Goosebumps.
do it yet. He doesn't know if he's
Dang,
going to
man.
do it yet, but he's considering it.
Well, because
Brandon,
you
this
know
is-
that the anal retentive symmetry in him, and he's already said the problem is if I do 5 eras, the 4th one I'm gonna want to do 4 books
Oh,
to
Brandon,
even things out instead
Brandon,
of
you
just have
got
3.
to finish everything you're doing. You can't, don't
Yep.
take
Well,
on too
this
much.
is the thing that has me the most excited of everything. It's a weird thing to say in the year of Sanderson, is all the collaboration he's now doing.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's true.
Because it's going to open the door to him letting him expand his universe out with authors he trusts, which
Yeah.
will let
It's so
him
cool.
let his universe outlive
it'll let him
himself.
focus on the core stuff too.
Yeah.
and other people can focus on weird spin-offs and
Yeah. Well,
and
let's
crossovers.
say he finds like one of his students or something that he really likes
Yeah.
their writing style, and they're just like, I have an idea for a book, but I don't think it'd really work, as a thing. It's like, well, what is it? I want to tell a pirate story on Tress's world. And it's just a pirate story on Tress's world that has no larger significance.
Yeah,
You could do that.
Yeah.
you absolutely could.
Yeah, that would be awesome.
So why did you like Frugal Wizard then, Alan?
I loved Frugal Wizard, and I've said it a couple times. It was the first time Frugal Wizard got me unscared for the future of the Cosmere, which was I've always worried about the transition into sci-fi, of how he's going to do that in a way that's satisfactory, and not everyone who writes fantasy can write sci-fi, and it's going to be a huge twist. And reading Frugal Wizard and the way that he applies sci-fi, and which is basically just it's magic but explained by science. Like he treats it the same, and I was like, oh, okay, I'm down for this. I'm excited to see the Cosmere transition into sci-fi. And then the Sunlit Man was like, that's the same thing but in the Cosmere, and I was like, I'm so down for sci-fi. But I really like the story of Frugal Wizard, and I want to see more books in that universe. I liked the idea of a multiverse that's not a multiverse, right? A multiverse done in a way that's smart, and I just loved like the brutal crony capitalism aspect in it. It was super fun to read, and I thought the story was. I thought it was a better, I don't know, like a romance, but I thought it was better. It was better structured than Tress, and probably at the moment it was because it didn't have tie-ins, right? It was its own thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, it's the only one of the secret projects that doesn't have a heavy dosage of Hoyd's voice as well.
That's
But
true.
I loved the Hoyd's voice in Tress. I was super unique to finally, to see him experiment in a different writing style,
Yeah,
a
it was
different
awesome.
voice. But I just really connected with Frugal Wizard. I thought it was a fantastic world and a fresh take, and I thought the story was super cool to just the tourism stuff, like the time travel tourism, and be like, okay, hey, let's go to let's go to England, but we've got all this technology and we're going to be gods. And it was fascinating.
It was very fascinating for sure.
And
And
really
something I
cool.
do. Oh, go ahead, Dave, and I'll go after you.
I was saying it was really cool, and I really enjoyed this one as well. But it is probably my least favorite out of all of the 3 or all the 4 because the other ones are so dang good.
It's true.
They're all good. It's my
fair,
favorite of
Brandon
my
Sanderson.
favorite books.
This
But-
is still Brandon Sanderson, and it's hard for him to write
exactly.
that book. He
But,
writes all good books.
But kind of the I guess the pitch, you would say, the Brandon Sanderson pitch of this, I think, would be its timeline meets Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, and it works really, really well, and I really liked that.
I also I'm a sucker for I love amnesia plots.
Oh, yeah,
and
there
it was
you go.
fun to see Sanderson do it in a way
Born
that
Identity, man.
in a way that felt super fresh. I loved
Yeah.
that he just kept trying to guess what he used to be. Like, hey, was I just an artist? Was I a policeman? And I loved the reveal. I thought it was
Very viewer 5 stars. Yeah.
very
And it was-
satisfactory.
And it was fun to see him, like, the way he approached problems changed depending on how he viewed himself.
Yeah.
Who he thought he
It
was.
was really
yeah.
cool. I have to admit, I did like that aspect of it. And I also, I'm really interested to see Brandon's inspiration for this book come to life, which is the Titanic 2 Sink Harder. I do want that to be a book at some point, or some kind of a movie. That'd be great. Actually, I want to see it.
It's so funny. So funny.
Love it.
But this is definitely like the good version of that. Like, you're like, okay, that's a funny idea, and I can't see how you could ever possibly make it a real book. And this is like, okay, this is the practical.
Oh, let Dan Wells write this one. I was like, yes, let him do it. Let him do it.
This was the practical version of that idea, which is a fantastic idea and a horrible book. It's a horrible book idea. I'm sorry. I never want to see that. That would be such a dumb book.
It'd be great. I want to see it.
And it would be wonderful, but
he should release it.
There's something to be said for allowing for a degree of difficulty.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
Yeah.
I loved this one. And like the doodles that he has on the pages are just so wonderful.
Oh yeah,
Those are great.
Steve Argyle is so good.
Yes.
The best part of the books are the blurbs, are the Hitchhiker's Guide blurbs.
Yes,
you know,
that was the best part.
The unforgiving capitalism and just
It's
just
like
wonderful.
if the company from Dilbert ran interdimensional tourism.
that's a good call. Oh my gosh,
Good job.
yes.
Jeez, that's what it is.
It's just the most simultaneously stupid, money grubbing, and hilarious answer to everything.
But also, like, you could see it happening, right? Like, it's not
because there's also a level of incompetence to it.
Yes.
Yep.
You're like, this is the most like unhinged, like just blatant disregard for ethics. Just wonderful.
Well, and just the whole thing, it's like, don't worry, this is a reality lower than our own, so it's okay.
Yeah, they don't matter. Now that you can literally just go around it, it's a sandbox. Just
basically not
play
real.
with people's lives. Loved it. I love it. How can you not love this book?
I love it a lot. It's still
if this one is number 4 on your list, you are not a smart person.
Well, you're the only one believing that right now, so okay.
That's fair. Yeah, it's okay.
Hey, it's number 2 on my list. Okay, so
I think it's
number 3, depending on which way you go.
So I think it's Lisa's first and Simply Nerdy.
It's my it's my penultimate. Yes, it's my penultimate.
It's the pre-anti-penultimate for me.
It's my penultimate.
There you go. Fourth.
Ridiculous.
I'll choose fourth. More simple for me.
Yeah.
So what about Yumi then, Alan?
So what are your thoughts on Kip and Tysus Green?
Ooh, does this mean you finished Lightbringer, Mark? Last week he was almost done with 5, right?
Tysus is absolutely the best character in Lightbringer. Fight me. So,
I hate to interrupt. I have to get going, unfortunately.
Okay.
Oh no.
Okay.
So I hate to do it right here.
Let's hurry and get your ratings for the other 2 books then, Jordan. Before you
go. My order is Sunlit Man is the best, followed by Yumi, and it's really close to me. And then there's a moat between 2 and 3, and then it's Tress and Frugal Wizard.
I agree.
Sunlit Man is incredible.
It's so good.
It's in contention for me for Brandon's best written thing he's ever done.
It's amazing.
I love it.
Number 1.
I didn't realize why I liked it so much until the ending when he says I wanted to do a Western, and I was like, that's why, that's what this was the whole time. I'm like, of course, and that's why I loved it, because I freaking love Westerns.
I do too. Yep.
It's so good, and I love the teases we get from all 3 of these.
It's
books
literally Shane. Sorry,
it is.
But,
thank you, Jordan. Sorry, you gotta go.
I do unfortunately have to get going. You, of course, we're the Sanderson Institute of Cosplay Studies. You can find us on YouTube. And,
Splice Stream, I'll link that.
Yeah, Splice Stream on Twitch. If you like Smash Brothers on Fridays, we're now doing actual fights between humans instead of amiibo. So
nice.
If you like it, please show up. I think you're going to enjoy it. It's a doubles format where your teammate constantly changes, and we embrace the chaos.
Okay. Do you
Right.
have like
And we-
30 seconds?
Right.
Because I wanted to tell you a funny
Yes.
story
Okay.
about your
Perfect.
panel. So the nerdiest panel of all time, the advanced realmatic theory, which is just stupid theory crafting based on the stuff we got from the 4 projects. And this, if you combine powers and this, whatever, right? I was sitting in the audience and in front of me, they were talking about like how many families were there. There was a dad who's maybe older than me, maybe in his 40s, or late 30s. He was there with his daughter, who probably like 12 or 13, and she was bored out of her mind. She was reading the Defiant book, and he was just like, yeah. It was literally the funniest thing to see. And I was
So
like,
that was an amazing panel.
it was
Travis
great.
Travis was an amazing mediator. Erica and Ammon were awesome. For me, the thing, as nerdy as it was, the thing I'll always take away from that panel were 2 cosplays I saw in the crowd. One, if you've read Tress, everyone at the convention had stickers that said, "I am Doug."
Yes.
My name is Doug. There was a guy dressed as
Nice.
Doug Funny from the old Nickelodeon cartoon with that thing.
Oh, I didn't
the
see
one-
him.
There's a guy, he came last year. He has the most amazing Steel Inquisitor cosplay I've ever seen. He has prosthetics to like push his, like skin out a little bit.
Yeah.
They look like real nails. I don't know what he has for a mesh that lets him actually see. But
It's really
it looks
good.
like
It's
and
really
he was in
good.
the front row, right in front of me, staring at me the entire time. It was unnerving. I could barely focus.
I think he
That's
I
amazing.
talked to him, and he said he attached those with rubber cement on the
Wow.
back of it. He shaved his head for it. Like, ooh,
Oh my
Yeah, it is
God.
dedication. Like
It's good.
If you go,
Oh my gosh.
everyone should come to Dragonsteel next year. I
for
guarantee
sure.
you
Be
will
there.
be there again with it. And when you see him, just tell him like how amazing it is, because he deserves every single compliment that he gets.
That's
well,
amazing.
thank you so
Done.
much for coming on again. Check out
For real,
his
Jordan.
channel. It's always super
Have a good one.
nerdy, and
Good to
looking
see you
forward
again,
to
Jordan.
hanging out
Right,
with you
good
in
to
a
see you
year,
guys
maybe
again.
sooner.
Yeah.
Yeah, see ya.
Right? Yeah. Anytime.
So I do have to say, Jordan was almost right. The order is actually Sunlit Man, Tress, Yumi, and then Wizard.
See, Yumi's
He was really
Yumi's
close.
better
He
than
just
Tress.
switched the other two.
Yeah. Yumi's better. I agree with Jordan 100%.
Get out of here, guys.
Oh, it was
He was
so.
almost
They're
right.
all good, okay?
I know they are great. Great
That
folks.
panel was legitimately funny because the dad was eating it up and the girl was just reading her Defiant book. I started talking to her. I gave her a bunch of my bookmarks, and it was funny. So funny.
Nice.
But yeah, the
Yeah, so Yumi, going into Yumi,
Yumi, yes.
so I read all of or listened to all of his readings of the first couple chapters, before they came out, and Yumi,
I didn't. I avoided all of them.
Yeah,
That's right.
going into it, Yumi was the one I was most interested in. I thought this was the most intriguing concept. I liked it. Again, Brandon Sanderson pitches. It's basically like Freaky Friday meets a Japanimation anime or something like that.
Anime.
And it was really cool. It's like this big, vibrant nightlife of Tokyo type of thing with original like old school feudal Japan. And it was great. I love the concept. I love the world they're building, and I really enjoyed the book too. But it was different than I thought it was going to be.
Same. That's
Especially
kind of
the
what threw
end.
me off.
It was like, and that was part of the fun of it. It was like, what's going on here? What is all this stuff? And I'm kind of upset because my audiobook, when I went to sleep and it kept playing.
Yeah.
And so I woke up and I pressed play again, and it started the chapter that said, it's absolutely not time travel. And I'm like, what?
No! That's the worst
I
statement.
was like,
I feel so bad for you.
man, but that was one of my theories. I was like, some sort of But yeah,
He
Anthony
definitely
was
wanted you
glad
to
it was
think.
not time travel.
He definitely
Definitely.
wanted you to think that it was time travel with like,
He did.
maybe Yumi messes something up and that's why it's all dark now.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And that was my favorite part of the book, is coming up with theories, and he knows exactly what you're thinking, and then he's like, nope, not that, it's something different. And he's like, okay, well, maybe it's something like this, maybe it's a simulation, maybe it's whatever. And then you're like, no, it's not quite that. It's he does it in such a way that it's familiar and it kind of makes sense, but it's also very unique and it's never been done before.
Yeah.
Jacob says, "Hey, love you."
Oh yeah.
He's a friend of mine. Nudity and sexual situations are not Sanderson's forte. The tension between Yumi and Painter was middle school awful. I liked it though. I thought it was funny. I think
now who's sappy, Alan? I'm just kidding.
I think it maybe went on for a little bit too long, but I did like the scene where they had to bathe together. It kind of felt like Mulan, you know.
It was a Mulan moment.
But I can definitely see not enjoying that part.
Yeah.
Yes.
I hear you there.
It was a
Painter
little
as
juvenile.
a character, though. I loved Painter as a character.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's so relatable. You know, don't want to let your friends down. We're going into spoilers, guys. Didn't want to let his friends down. Just didn't want to tell him the truth. Just kept playing on this lie and just kept digging himself further and further into the hole. And having that truth come out throughout the book was just a joy.
Yeah. Yeah, and that difference between, you know, she thinks they were linked for a purpose, you know, a certain purpose for him to, you know, fix her situation.
Yes.
And just it was so well, because it
was really good.
Yeah, it's Freaky Friday. They're living in each other's bodies, but they also don't understand each other. Don't know, it's a completely foreign world, and just both of them learning about each other's world, learning how it works, and learning how both of their different art forms can be used kind of for the same purpose. It was it was really good. I really liked it.
Really quickly though, this is the other reason why Sanderson should not work on Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah.
It's just not him. So I think he could probably help outlining it, right? Help organize thoughts, but I don't want him to write Song of Ice and Fire. I thought Hoig Spren was a right. Oh, absolutely.
Oh, absolutely. That was great.
Best humor elements came from her just trying to figure out human life. To David's point, though, about learning each other's worlds, I think the biggest flaw in the book is that there were points in the story where the characters were kind of stupid. In that they spent so much time trying to teach him how to balance rocks, and it never even occurred to him, hey, I should try painting instead.
Yeah, you're right.
Maybe the spirits are attracted to the creation, right? Rather than just rocks. And maybe I could try attracting Spren by doing a really good painting. I was like how is that not even something, like, even if that doesn't work, try it, you know, like that made no sense to me.
Yeah, I agree. Even like,
so there was a brief moment in the books where it stalled a little bit, where they were like, you guys are spending way too much time on this thing instead of trying to figure out the gimmick, like trying to experiment and figure out what the heck is going on, because you're kind of running out of time.
Yeah, exactly. I agree with that.
Yeah.
The other thing that I thought was a little bit confusing for me is in the end, when it's revealed, you know, what all this is, what's going on, it didn't quite.
It goes really fast.
It happens
really fast at the end.
It does. It goes really, really fast, which is good. But it didn't quite make sense to me, some of the other things that were happening before, because we heard this whole history of all these other Yakihidro, what is it? Yokihidro, yeah. All these other ones that existed, right? And they are doing their own thing, and they're like more free spirited, and they're not staying.
Right. That subplot didn't really go anywhere. Yeah. You're like, why is that part of this fake world building that this mist has created for you?
And so I thought it was going to kind of be like those people like they went on their own way, and then they kind of disappeared, and nobody heard from them again. It's because they were incorporated into the, in the shadow world as the nightmares or whatever. But it didn't really explain that at the end, and I was kind of it.
It left me
I was a
desiring
little bit
more.
bummed about that. Yeah,
I think, I still love it, but
Yeah,
pacing
absolutely.
wise, to have spent so much time with just stalling in the middle, and then to speed up that much in the end and not spend time
Yeah.
on it, I think it was a little
Yeah.
slightly flawed. Yeah.
I agree. We gave it a 9 at Simply Nerdy. That was our average score.
it was still really
great.
really fun, but the ending kind of bugged me in how it wrapped it up. I would have liked
Too
another
much a throwaway gimmick.
It was a little too
5
abrupt.
to 7 chapters before the
And
finale.
a lot happened in the epilogue too.
Yeah,
I do love that the like painting her back into existence was phenomenal though. I loved that.
Yep. They both deserved a happy ending. I know there's some fans that were upset that they got a happy ending. I don't know why.
I see their point. It would have been a good tragedy too, but I liked the happy ending as well. I thought it was.
I like
And
that
I'm
it's
sad,
addressed. I like that it's addressed. He's like, hey, maybe structurally this is better as a tragedy, but in this case it wasn't. Like I liked that he addresses it.
And it was foreshadowed too with his big empty mural that he doesn't feel like he's worthy enough to.
And that's why it worked, because it was like
Exactly.
he needed an arc.
Yeah. He did.
Yeah, it was really well done. I wish there was a little bit more tie-in.
It was Chekhov's canvas. It needed to be fired.
Yeah. Like the Sunlit Man.
Yeah, let's get to
Let's get to the Sunlit Man.
My gosh.
Number 1.
So, again,
Sunlight Archive is my favorite series that he does, and this was just so Sunlight Archive.
And see, again, I understand, I recognize some of those tie-ins, even though I haven't read Stormlight yet. But this was the one going into it. I was like, okay, that's interesting. I like his sci-fi world, but I wasn't interested in. This was like my least. I was the least interested in reading.
Hold on, really quickly before we move on, though.
Okay,
Why did Sanderson try to make us think it was in the Rosharan system all the way until the second postscript? Yumi.
No,
I thought it was pretty clear that this was a completely different planet. I
thought it was too.
I mean, there were obvious comparisons to not Roshar, but to Mistborn, which is Scadrian, right?
Yeah.
I never thought it was Roshar.
I didn't either, to be honest.
I liked the aliens twist.
I've only read it once, so maybe if I reread it again,
I did like the aliens twist, and they're like, "Oh, we're gonna get some of those guys now."
Yes.
Which were also mentioned in Sunlit Boys. No. That was a different.
And we're back to Sunlit Man.
No, the ending of the Sunlit Man is a different race. That's from the original human planet is what he says.
Yeah,
I forget what they're called.
So Sunlit Man is I think
there were lots of Stormlight Archive tie-ins in Yumi specifically.
In Yumi,
like, just with Hoyd and his Spren.
Hoyd, I'm curious, Jacob. Are you talking about?
Yeah, I'm not sure what you're referring to.
If you're talking about Sunlit Man, then
he might be talking about Sunlit Man, because both of those, the whole thing with Sunlit Man is we're trying to figure out where it was connected to,
and who this nomad was.
Yeah.
Did you guys figure it out earlier, or did it surprise you? Because it surprised me, to be honest.
I knew it was.
You knew who it was? Okay, that's fair.
Of course. As soon as he talked to Hoyd, I was like, oh yeah.
David, did you know? I guess you didn't know.
I don't
know. So never mind.
I still don't know. I haven't read Stormlight, so I don't know. I guess
you have no idea.
It's news to me. But I really liked it because it was sci-fi. It was quirky. It was fun. So previous to this, I agree with my brother. Warbreaker is amazing. I love the magic in Warbreaker.
So good.
The story, the characters,
love them all.
The relationships that are built. It's amazing. I love it.
Incredible.
The fantasy world, however, in Warbreaker is kind of vanilla, a lot like Elantris, right?
Agreed.
This one had an amazing magic system that I think was almost on par with Warbreaker. I like Warbreaker a little bit more, but this one was really good. It made intuitive sense, and the world combined with the world building, it's so good.
I loved the world.
Again, I love doing these Brandon Sanderson pitches. This is like pitch black, like Chronicles of Riddick world type of thing on a really, really small moon with sci-fi.
With an eternally shifting landscape.
It's so cool.
Topography.
But it makes sense. And it's so cool how he's discovering this whole world. And it's like, oh, yeah, there's storms on my planet. I can handle this storm. Nobody said the storm would be on fire,
Built by a shard for a specific purpose.
Yeah.
That was a wonderful reveal where he's like, because I knew who it was, and we're like, okay, I can handle a storm. Oh wait, no, I'm this is not the kind of storm. Yeah, it was wonderful.
Yeah.
I love so much that it's a Western, and I didn't even realize it until the postscript where I was like, yes, that's why it's Shane. There are no more guns in the valley, man. It's like
yes.
He rides off into the distance on his teleportation horse. It's so good.
Yeah.
I hated seeing him lose his friend too, and
that was so hard. That was so hard. Best moment though was when he said, "No one breaks oaths," and it's just totally gets all pissed off at the villain.
Yeah.
Oh, dude!
And I love just the tiny little bits of just glimpses into the future with Dawn Shard. I'm all caught up now, except for I haven't read Dawn Shard yet.
I haven't read that either, and I'm starting the Stormlight Archive series again. I'm starting with Way of Kings right now, and I'm going to read it in the order I'm supposed to. And read Dawn Shard.
I finally finished all of the Arcanum Unbounded.
Nice. I have not done
all of the short stories.
Nice.
So I finally know where Threnody is and what all the birds are about, right?
And you finally know what Kelsier was doing in the meantime.
yeah, dude,
I
hadn't read Secret History.
Yeah.
I love Secret History.
Yeah,
Dawn Shard,
really fun.
Dawn Shard was meh. Yeah, I didn't love the other one either. I didn't love the
Dawnbreaker or
what was it? The one about Lift. It wasn't my favorite. I mean, it was fine, but
I didn't.
I'm definitely glad that it wasn't in the in the full book.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Edge Dancer.
I'm gonna reread that one though again too. Maybe I like it better.
I just started my 16th reread of. I didn't know you were on 16.
No way. Are you serious, Jacob? Dang.
He's serious. Wow. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah. So another thing I really liked about the Sunlit Man is all the little references to every other Cosmere thing. Like I think there's a reference to every other Cosmere world, and it was beautiful. Like the moment when he's trying to figure out how the magic system works, and he's like, "My breath to yours," and he's like, "Oh well, I guess it didn't work." I'm like, "Yes!" It was just really good, and just made me feel happy. And
I'm excited for the sci-fi phase, guys.
Yeah,
it's not going to be for a long time, but oh my gosh,
I know.
I'm just so sad we're not going to get another book of Nomad.
Yeah,
dang it.
We might. I don't know. I think he might do it again. I think it might. I think it would be cool.
He's not going to have his own story, but he's going to be in there.
I think it would be cool to do it again and have him world hop a couple times, and he gets a little book. He just anytime. See, it's. I know he's going to do another Nomad book because of the way his brain works. He's gonna accidentally come up with another stupid world building thing, right? He's like, "Oh, that would be fun. Hey, I could just have Nomad do another book where he finds another weird planet, and I get to quickly explore it."
Easy
right?
in, exactly. It's an easy buy-in for him.
And he's just jumping between planets. He's he's the Western hero, and he's gonna leave, solve a problem, and go away. I know he's gonna do another.
Oh my word! Okay? Great,
because he was a wonderful, wonderful protagonist. I loved getting more of him.
Definitely.
In first person too. It was great to be in his brain, and I loved his tortured soul.
Yes.
I don't. I'm not bashing Lift. I just don't think that the story was necessary.
That's fair.
So I think she's.
I need to reread it, and I need to revisit why I didn't like it the first time. But
nope. I
forgot what I was going to say about this book.
Do you have a weapon? Nope, I can't read. Yeah, Lift is a good character. But I do think that she's better in small doses. She's like, to me, this is a weird comparison. She's like, in Parks and Recreation, the brother and sister,
Money, please.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep.
Fantastic characters, absolutely phenomenal, but you don't want a whole episode where they're the main characters. If that makes sense. For different reasons. Obviously, I'm not saying Lift is ridiculous and
no, I definitely like her as a character.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I really, really like her. It was necessary for it was more necessary for the antagonist than it was for Lift.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you guys listen to the Sunlit Man on the audiobook? I mean, Alan, you did. Nomad's Spren's voice was great.
Yeah,
it was.
I loved how he portrayed the voice of that Spren. And yeah, you're right. It was a tragic to see that Spren go. Edge Dancer was also the one we're talking about. There we go.
But man, what a way to go! It was.
See,
when we talk about he's Sanderson's strengths and weaknesses. What Sanderson does super well. He's really good at world building. We all know that. He's really good at making fun fighting with magic, with his magic systems that are super thought out and get a natural progression. And so when he unlocks new powers, you're like, well, duh, yeah, that makes sense. You're just combining this and this, and so it's a very satisfactory. We all know those are. He's good at that. But what he's also really, really, really good at, which is my favorite thing in all of writing, is he's really good at like the heroic sacrifice,
emotional payoffs,
the emotional, altruism of, knowing that you have to give up
someone,
but you have to do it for the
greater good.
To help others.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Even in the selfish sense too, with Kelsier, when he sacrificed himself, I'm like, holy crap!
And that's my personal, that's my sweet spot. That's why I like the Fellowship of the Ring more than Two Towers and Return of the King, because that's the moment when they make the sacrifice of we could go back to the Shire, but if Frodo has to go on, or even Frodo saying, "I'll do it, fine, I'll take the ring," and then all of his friends saying, "Well, we were planning on going back, but we can't let Frodo do it," right? And then you get the moment where, I would have gone with you the whole way. I would have gone with you to Mordor. I can't watch the first movie without crying, and
I can't watch any of them without crying. I'll be honest.
I physically cannot watch Fellowship without crying, but I have a couple times gotten through Return of the King without crying.
No, impossible. Nope. Don't know how you do that. Teach me.
But no, Fellowship. Fellowship has it has a much better connection to me, and it's because of the sacrifice. Right? There's no sacrifice in Return of the King. They're already in it, and it's just finishing the race, which is phenomenal. But there's no sacrifice unless you count like Frodo's finger. But
tell that to Sam,
dude. I mean, you do get Sam. I can't carry the ring, but I'll carry you. But that's not a sacrifice. That is an endurance. That is, I
cry every time.
That's not giving anything up. That's just Sam being freaking awesome.
Brandon cries at that time every time too.
Fellowship comes with freaking Gandalf sacrificing too. So Sanderson is so good at the heroic sacrifice. You get Mistborn. He does Vin and Elend. Wonderful. Kelsier. Wonderful. You get the greatest character ever written in Warbreaker, Lightsong. You cannot say there is not a better scene in the Cosmere than Lightsong saying, "Oh yeah, I am a god." Oh, I'm crying right now. Oh,
I know. I cried too. It was so good. But still,
so good.
We saw this moment coming in the Sunlit Man when his Spren notified him, "Hey, I could get you into your suit one last time." And I was like, "Oh no, it's going to happen at some point. It's going to happen at some point, isn't it? Please no!" And then it happened. Yeah. I was like, "Well, it was foreshadowed." So I still cried. It was so sad.
Yeah, it is a perfect.
But I was also screaming at the same time because of the way that he entered.
And David doesn't even know. David doesn't even know how good that sacrifice is, because he hasn't read Stormlight. But
you will.
Like the giving up, like knowing that he's like he and what makes it worse is that his friend is already dead, you know.
Yes.
And it's just a fraction left, and like giving up that final like
Fraction. Oh, my
heartbreaking
word.
and beautiful.
Mhm.
But he
Oh,
still
my
gets
gosh.
he still gets the sword back, so that's a plus.
That's true. At least he gets the sword back. But still, dang.
Wonderful.
Love this book, you guys.
Wonderful.
It's
World.
my number one.
I love
Number
the
one.
bad guy.
Easy.
I love the bad guy in this one.
The bad guy was just bad to be bad.
He was good. It's fun. It was just a baddie. He was just a bad baddie who wanted power. I also love the reveal that Rosharans just suck.
Well, same thing with the Scadrians too. They're in their little scientific hole, not letting anybody in.
That was
you're right.
Those weren't Scadrians. Those were Rosharan.
No, that was
Scadrians. I messed up again. I'm sorry. I meant to say Scadrians, not Rosharans.
Right.
The Scadrians suck. And if you've read Sixth of Dust, I'm mad Jordan had to leave because I wanted to ask him. I don't know. It basically kind of a similar situation in that one with people waiting to kind of farm a planet.
Jeez.
I don't know. I don't think it's Scadrians in that one. I think it's Elantrians.
Wait, in which one?
In Sixth of Dusk.
Sixth of the Dusk. That's just
Dusk.
That's. I mean, it's been a while since I watched that one or read that one, but it's just one guy in the whole thing with his aviary. I don't remember anybody else in there.
You don't remember the ending of the book?
Don't spoil it. I haven't read that one.
It's a similar situation where there are people from another planet waiting to take advantage of this planet.
Yeah.
It's either it's not Roshar, it's either Scadrians or Elantrians or what
Rosharans.
Cellians?
Oh yeah.
Is that the planet? The cell system? How do you say it though? It's because cellulite. Cellish. It's either Cellish, but I'm pretty sure it's Cellish because they mentioned glowing. They're like, oh, I don't know if you can die. So they're probably Elantrians.
I don't remember that. I'll have to reread that. This
could have sworn but it could very well be Scadrians, and it would be in line for what they do in Sunlit. I'd love how just douchey they are, and
I know, right?
And Jordan isn't here to back up his favorite homeboy. It's Kelsier's fault. Kelsier sucks.
He does,
and I know he's your favorite, but you should have stayed longer to defend him. Okay, it's the reason why Scadrians are such dicks is because of Kelsier. Okay,
it's true.
Yep.
I love Kelsier.
I am not
what a wonderfully written horrible character. And
yes, exactly.
He's so selfish.
I loved him in Mistborn. I hate him now.
The above. They're probably Scadrians.
Yeah.
There was just one line that hinted to me that they might be Cellish, and also linking to Tress of the Emerald Sea. I thought it might be the same crazy lady from Elantris. There was one line where they're like, "Oh, I didn't know these people could die," and so it was that made me think more Elantrian than Mistbornian.
I think that was literally the third book that I read. I read Mistborn, I read Warbreaker, and then I read Six of the Dusk and Shadows for Silence in the Forest of Hell. Those are the first four that I read.
I love Shadows. I finally read it.
Amazing. But this brings me to my one and only criticism of the Sunlit Man is there's a tie-in with that, and I don't know. I didn't like it. I didn't like how all these spirits were confined in this thing, and I expected there to be some sort of repercussions for them breaking out, but they just kind of went back and they build stuff for them. I don't know. That part didn't really jive with me. I appreciated the connection.
That's fair.
But I don't know. It was just kind of weird and out of place. That's my one and only criticism. The rest of the book was so phenomenal that
the tech does seem scary.
It's my second favorite out of all the books. I think I still like Warbreaker better, but this was very, very close second.
Then I do have a question, Jacob. Is the okay? So back to Tress of the Emerald Sea. She has a laptop, right? The I don't remember her name. The villain,
Yes.
the Empress or whatever, who turns
Yep.
out to be the crazy chick from Elantris. She has a laptop. Is the laptop Scadrian technology or is it Celish? Just because in my head I thought
And same thing.
thought it was Celish just because she's Celish.
Yeah.
But she very well could have had Scadrian technology, and that's why when that technology is mentioned in Sixth of Dust, I connected it to Celish instead of Scadrian. But
And the same question about the translator thing for what's his bucket, the cook.
the translator was definitely Scadrian.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, guys, I gotta hop off.
Yeah. I think that's how it wraps it up.
Wait, Sunlit Man. I love the idea of AI being created by awakened copper mines. Come on!
Yeah, that was really cool.
Genius!
It's so cool. I love this book so much. It's on so many different levels. Mostly though, because it just furthered the Cosmere and just opened up my mind to what this futuristic Cosmere could look like. And I'm stoked. I'm stoked.
Yes. 100%.
Thanks for joining us, Stephen. Love you.
No problem.
And
Thank you for having me on the show. We're Simply Nerdy. You can look at us on
it was
Great
YouTube.
content.
It was Anthony's wife that asked the question, right, at Dragonsteel?
Yep.
Solely responsible for probably the best question asked in the Q&A.
It's so true.
Fantastic.
We've been wanting to ask him. We were going to have Anthony ask him when he was getting his book signed, but the opportunity presented itself. Like, hey,
It did.
let's just all get on there. And
I was surprised that she got in because she missed the
she did
the QR code and then somehow got in anyway. So
Yep.
that
were
was
lucky.
I was not expecting that.
Nice.
So
Well, next year I will be there.
Sweet.
I've said this before. That's going to be like my outreach thing. That if you want to, that's my meetup thing. I'm going to go to Dragonsteel every year because I'm never going to miss a Dragonsteel based on this year, which I almost didn't go to, and I'm so glad that I did.
Okay,
that's my meetup thing. If you want to meet me in person, come to Dragonsteel.
same.
So,
Going back to your VIP thing that you and I talked about at Dragonsteel, were you happy you got the VIP this year, or did you change your mind?
It definitely came with a lot of merch. On the second day, it came with even more stuff too, and I thought that the first day was all I was going to get. I wasn't disappointed with any of the stuff I got from like the merch. I would have preferred to have just done a regular badge though, and spent that money and spent more money in the store, right?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
This one came.
I got that one too. I'm not wearing it right now, but
I actually liked last year's design better, and I'm kind of upset that I didn't get a Dragonsteel one last year. I don't think the VIP is worth it. Of course, I didn't use it like I should have. I should have taken more advantage of it.
Right.
I don't think it's necessary, and I would have preferred to specifically buy things that I wanted rather than just the general merch that you get with the VIP thing.
That's fair.
Not that any of it was bad. Like there was like the challenge coin and the pins are gorgeous. I personally have no idea what to do with them, and I would prefer more shirts than a coin and a plushie. Right? I gave the plushies to my kids.
Same.
And they're wonderful. That's to me personally. I don't find use in those things. It's just going to be sitting around the house and no one's ever going to touch it. It's going to collect dust.
Yep.
I would rather have something I can wear or use or eat or read.
Agreed.
So I think for a lot of people, the VIP pass is totally worth it. It's just not my thing, and I'm definitely just doing general admission from now on and spending a ton of money in the store on specific stuff that I actually want.
Yep.
Like this.
Well, thank you so much. Yeah,
this was worth 3 hours.
Yep, it was.
I've worn it to church.
I got the same one that's in the car. I'd pull it out right now.
I'm telling you,
I got the same one.
I'm telling you, everyone was doing the slug one, and I'm like, bro, that's the wrong choice. It looks good, but it doesn't. It's not incognito. Like this looks like a Christmas sweater. I've worn it to church several times, and some people are like,
Yeah.
And everyone else is like, hey, that's a Christmas sweater.
That's my
Exactly.
favorite kind of swag is the subtle nerdy stuff, you know?
Yep.
The prints that you look at and like, oh, that's a nice print. Oh, that's a Star Wars print or whatever it
Dude,
is.
you can,
Yeah.
Jacob, you can have the pin. I'm never going to use it.
I actually gave my pin
bring
away
it.
already. Sorry. I don't use pins either, so I gave mine
Yep.
away to a coworker. So,
So,
all right, guys. Well,
Anyway.
thank you so much.
Yeah. Thanks for joining us, Stephen.
You're welcome. Keep it nerdy, both of you.
Yeah.
we'll see you guys in a year
Yep. Oh,
when we talk about
100%.
Dragonsteel again and Stormlight 5. We'll have to. We'll probably do. It'll probably be like the last week, or maybe even January. We might have to do it in January because Stormlight 5 is going to take a bit. It's going to take a while to read.
It's
That's
gonna
true.
take a
That's
while.
true.
So we
And I
might
wanna
not.
take my
Actually, we
good old
might
sweet
not do
time.
another Sanderson stream next year. But it'll be
Well,
it'll be close to within a year from today. It just might not be next year unless the Ingram Exa finishes reading Warbreaker, and then we'll talk about that.
Yeah.
Next week, I was totally wrong about the release of Rebel Moon. The date was correct, but that was for a very small release. So it's being released in the UK and like 5 theaters across the USA. But I think the closest one is in California. I'm not driving to California to see Rebel Moon, so no Rebel Moon next week. But and then no show for 2 weeks. But we will plan something probably the week after Christmas to talk about Rebel Moon because I'm definitely watching it 21st when it comes on Netflix, baby. I'm excited for that movie. So
good.
Next week, I think I'm trying to convince everyone to go see Godzilla -1. And we've got a couple things to talk about. We'll talk about Doctor Who, okay? And there will be 2 episodes. There's a Christmas episode. Oh my gosh! By Generation. Oh my gosh!
Yeah, I heard about that.
Check out Simply Nerdy. They're fantastic.
Thank
If
you,
you like Simply Nerdy things and Nintendo stuff, and
We do Nintendo stuff. We do Xbox, PlayStation. We do music. No, we don't do music. We do movies, and we're also getting into books now, which is why we're talking more about Brandon Sanderson. So
yeah,
Yep.
I want to see Godzilla -1, and also I'm probably
Gran
going to go
Turismo. Have
see
either of you seen Gran Turismo? No, I was changing
Gran
topic.
No, I
Turismo.
want
No.
to see that.
It's amazing.
No, I need to go see the Oath, the Mormon, the Book of Mormon movie.
I saw it.
Is it good?
Yesterday. It was okay.
I didn't think it was going to be like fantastic, but it looks
No, for
pretty
the
good.
budget that it had, it was decent. It
Yeah.
was pretty dang good, I have to say.
So
But
Nice.
okay.
there were things with it. We'll talk about it later.
We'll see you guys next week, and then in a year from now. Bye.
That's right. See ya.
Bye. Bye.
And now it is time to say goodbye.
We had a great conversation.
It's been fun. But all good things must come to an end, and the goodest ending I can think of is...
Right now, this moment, this night.
So I guess we just say goodbye.
So, goodbye.
Toodaloo. Au revoir. Auf Wiedersehen. Ciao. Ding dao day. But come back next week for more outrageous bloopers.
This is the end.
Well, there's only one thing left to do.
I'm gonna go home and sleep with my wife.